What's the motherfucking deal? I apologize for that. Welcome to The Den. If you're not familiar with The Den is the best conversation on the internet. And I am happy to be your host, as always, Ed Honcho. And I hope you guys are having a terrific Tuesday evening. And we're going to get into some conversation this evening. We're going to talk about stereotypes. And stereotypes come in many forms, shapes. You can talk about racial stereotypes. You can talk about gender stereotypes. You can talk about stereotypes based on sexuality, culture, many different things. And we'll get into that. But first, before we get into all that conversation, I want to thank you for joining me. And I want to make sure that you're following The Den on all of the proper social medias. I don't know what the fuck is going on. What happened to the dilly dally? That bitch frozen. Let me see what's going on. Okay? Ain't that a bitch? What's done happened to the dilly dally? Fuck it. Let's see what's going on here. Let's get this whole shindig right. Let's see where we are. All right, let's check it out. Let's see if it works better now. There we go. Make sure you're following The Den on all the proper social medias, facebook.com/Den Show Live. From there, you can also get to the Den Show Facebook group, Twitter and Instagram, different platforms, same name, at The Den Show, or at Den Show Live, I'm sorry. At Den Show Live. If you want to give your boy Honcho a follow there, it's always greatly appreciated. If you want to follow on my personal pages, and some of you have, Twitter and Instagram, Ed Honcho, HTX, EDHONCHO, HTX. That stands for Houston, Texas. I'm from Houston, Texas. Y'all don't know about that. So, also, if you ever want to contact The Den when we're not live, you're more than welcome to. You can call 1-833-284-3336 or 833-284-3336, 833-2, the number 2, The Den. I don't think, do people even use the number 1 anymore? I mean, shit, everything, cell phones, you don't fucking call 1 for long distance anymore. So y'all know what I mean. Or you can email at denshowlive@gmail.com. If you ever want to leave, just a message, a topic suggestion, constructive criticism, anything, whatever it may be, your opinions are always welcome. Your suggestions are always appreciated. Have had some suggested topics that we'll be covering probably tomorrow. What's tomorrow, Wednesday? Yeah, probably tomorrow. And if you want to tell a friend about The Den, tell them to go to thedenshow.com. If you want to tell them how to get there when we're live, just tell them to go to thedenshow.com/live. And it'll take them right to the live page. They can jump into the chat and the conversation and everything with us. Hey, if you want to support The Den, all the love, the Denjamins are extremely appreciated. Streamlabs.com/thedenshow. And I know a lot of people watch on platforms that, they may not see the description. So I'll be sure to get some of the other info up there. I've been saying I'm going to get to, I just have not necessarily had the time streaming more. So on the fucking free agency or lack thereof. But before we get into the stereotypes, let's talk about streamer stereotypes or chat stereotypes. Let's see who will join us this evening, goddammit. And make sure, oh yes. And shout out to Stina Starry-Eyed, and I appreciate the Patreon support. If you want to support The Den on a monthly basis, have some input and, producer credits on some of the videos, the short videos, whenever I do drop short videos, and there will be more of those coming. You want to receive producer credits on those because I appreciate the support. Consider signing up for the Patreon at patreon.com/thedenshow. So, thank you all for joining me this evening. Simply Deep, Dr. Rabbit, Jared Key, let's see, Beyond a Funny Nigga, Kenneth. Kenneth, whenever your dead weight leaves, the den grows. I like Kenneth, but he get on my damn nerves. Craig Baker, man, what's the motherfucking deal? Stina Starry-Eyed, what's the motherfucking deal? Jimmy Cruz, Ferocious, Heidi, AB, what's the motherfucking deal? McVice, V Darko, Cool M Ver, what's the motherfucking deal? Let's see. Wise, what's the motherfucking deal? You say check out Spoken Region last year on how to move into 2020s. Okay, I ain't heard that name in a long time, man. Man, he was the when I mean, I'm not gonna make sure if that's the same dude. Was that why you asking all them questions, dude? There's some other interesting things. There was one I was talking. Shout out to Broderick. I don't know if he's in here, but he just sent something about a guy talking about Jay Prince, and I kind of want to spend some time talking about that. But I might have to be careful because I mean, Houston niggas might come get me. So we'll have to talk about that. And you got to think about that, man. Yeah, 2020 is not that far away. This is 2019, and we're a quarter of the way through. So you got to be prepared for that. So let's see. Sean, what's the motherfucking deal? Always good to see you. Your stereotype don't count, Heidi. That was all part of the program. So I had to, the black people are always late type. So I was integrating a stereotype into the stream. Y'all didn't even realize that shit. That's how deep this shit is. Y'all didn't even know that. Kahao MC, what's the motherfucking deal, man? James Harden. Let's see. Berkeley Boss, what's the motherfucking deal? Unbeaten Sports. Jay Dizzle, what's the motherfucking deal? Let's see. Make sure I ain't missing nobody. If I miss you, I ain't. This your Roman, what's the motherfucking deal? And yes. So, again, stereotypes. Let's talk about them. Let's discuss stereotypes. These young niggas don't know about Jake Prince. Yeah, the motherfuckers is real disrespectful. We'll see what happens. We'll see. I mean, there's somebody's going to be proven true, somebody's going to be proven false, but it's a very interesting thing. But stereotypes, let's talk about them. Stereotypes can be applied by race, racial stereotypes. All black people like watermelon and chicken. All Mexican people are illegals. Let's see. White people can't dance. What do we got? All Asian people know martial arts. Is that a stereotype for real? Or is it just me? Is it just me? Am I the only person that believes all Asian people know some type of martial arts? Could be just me being racist. White people can't season food. Yeah, that's also one. But when it comes to racial things, there are stereotypes, and stereotypes generalize, and people get offended by stereotypes. Me, I really don't. I don't see any reason, because if it does apply, well, there's a reason. If it doesn't apply, as I always say, let it fly. 335, what's the motherfucking deal? Brotherly, what's the motherfucking deal? So my thing is, yeah, and that's the thing, and I do know some white folks who can't, because that's why I say, it's not a rule. There are so many exceptions to the rule, and I hate to be exception to the rule guy, but let's just be realistic. There's a lot of people who can do a lot of different things across races. It's generally a general thought process that's applied to particular people. You have gender stereotypes. Men are better athletes than women. Men are stronger. Men are smarter. Men are better at everything. Women just exist. And I'm just fucking with y'all. For y'all get mad, y'all gonna be like, hold on. Why y'all get yes. The Slim Hardaway, what's the motherfucking deal? White girls have flat butts. Sweetberry, what's the motherfucker? That is not true. That is no longer a true thing. The white women have found the ass. It was locked away somewhere in a trunk in the attic. The white women have found it. They have located the ass, and they have been applying it. I've seen proof of these things all over the place. Oh no, it's not plastic surgery. Plastic butt don't move like that. I've seen it. I've seen it with my own eyes. I did not want to believe. I even took a close examination, and it was not false. It was true ass. It must be jam, or it must be jelly, because jam don't shake like that. So again, It's the pumpkin spice. See what it is the Uggs have a special type of footing that lifts up the butt. Danny, what's the motherfucking deal? Hurrah, what's the motherfucking deal? But so my thing is, yeah, I've heard that. I've definitely heard the wet dog thing. I've heard that from a lot of people. Usually black women that say that. So that's mainly what I've heard. Black girls don't like white people smell like wet dog when they get wet, when it rain. I don't know. I was like, okay, that's a thing. I don't know how many white people I've been around that have been rained on. So, so my thing is this: stereotypes are intriguing. You wonder where they come from, and you say there's a truth to all stereotypes, somewhat, because everything is not going to apply to everybody. You know, there are a lot of stereotypes that were, I guess, founded on truth, but then they were exaggerated to create fear in others. You know, some stereotypes maybe weren't true at all. I don't know. I got to think of which stereotypes that aren't true. But again, like I say, you know, they're across the board. Like I say, men, women, black, white, pink, purple, gray, orange. You know, people from Texas or people from California, or East Coast people are rude. All Californians are liberal. All fucking Texans have horses. You know, that's a bet. That's a bet, Shaolin. That's a bet. Let me. I got your email. I'll shoot you my number. I'll shoot you my number so you can, you know. And that's a bet. That's a bet. Already. But good to see you, man. That horse won a lot. That's what I'm saying. You know, you say, what? V Darko? Niggas you been fucking with. Did you discover that in the old folks home? Look at all the niggas in the chat. What? Okay, cool. That's what's up. Man. I hope you okay. I hope you had a good time out there, man. Or hope it was enjoyable. Hope you know. That sounds pretty dope though. So let's see. But you know, the stereotypes, are they painful? Are they harmful? Are they hurtful? I think they only really impact ignorant people. And what I mean by that, on both sides of the coin. Because an ignorant person believes all stereotypes. And an ignorant person is offended by stereotypes that apply to them. You know. And I think that people who get offended, all people who get offended are weak. That's a stereotype. Nah. But the thing about it is, you got to look at it and you got to really think about it. And this is why I say, you know, and I know people say, well, you know, certain things have a historical origin. And sometimes that origin can be despicable. I've heard of, and here's the thing, I don't necessarily think it's a stereotype. It was just fucked up shit that people did. Because I've heard, you know, the terms like gator bait. And that's some fucked up ass shit. You know, that's some real fucked up ass shit. If you don't understand the origin of gator bait, well, I implore you to look into it yourself, because that'll take the stream in a whole different conversation. You know, and again, just certain racial terms, racial things. But like I say, you know, I think about like stereotypes like weed. Weed has a stereotype. Certain cultures, what I mean, subcultures or whatever you want to call it, drug cultures. I used to think that everybody who did cocaine was basically 2 days away from doing crack. You know what I'm saying? And so my thing is, I had a very good friend, a very, very good friend of mine, Dude was a straight up guy. And hadn't seen him in a while. We hung out. And he was like, hey man, you know where to get some powder? I was like, no, I don't know where to do that. We don't condone drug usage. We don't do that. But neither here nor there, somehow he came across some. And we had went out to the club or whatever. And I'm just watching this motherfucker. I'm like, look what this nigga's doing. He's doing drugs. This motherfucker, I'm smoking my weed. This motherfucker's doing real drugs. Why you doing them drugs, buddy? You know? But the thing about it was, you know, he didn't always do it. You know, he was on vacation and, you know, he put in work. Once he put in work for a while, sometimes don't go years without it. And then when he likes to party, he likes to party. And then he, you know, he'll cut it off. And, you know, I watched his behavior. I watched how he operated. And again, because I really like the whole stigma around me was just, you know, I ain't never really fuck with motherfuckers who did powder. Like that just, I had a stereotype about them. They were all a bunch of fucking junkies. But then when this was a good friend of mine and I'm seeing his behavior, I'm like, okay, maybe it's not so bad. You know, fast forward years later, I don't even think he does it anymore. Now he smokes weed. You say weed didn't do anything for him. Now he smokes big. And so I feel like, oh yeah, I already know that. That's suit and tie. Oh, you can't look at trust, but you can't from. I know engineers and some exec. I don't. I've heard of it. There used to motherfucking be folk with that shit. But you know, and so my thing is that I had a stigma about that, and it took me becoming familiarized with someone who did it, somebody who is a personal friend of mine, and seeing that it didn't impact them the way that it impacted, you know. There's users and there's addicts, okay? Or you can have functional addicts too. Because you'll be surprised how many people in the construction industry or contracting industry, whatever you want to call it, are meth heads, coke heads, on crack, you know, cocaine. And so there's a lot of people. So when you automatically think of a crackhead, you think of a motherfucker, you know, walking down the street with 2 different shoes on, one of them with a different lace, you know, looking crazy as shit, looking like Antoine off fucking In Living Color or some shit, you know. But there are some functional crackheads. There are some crackheads who make a lot of fucking money. Hey, they spend a lot of money every weekend on crack. So the thing about it is, I apologize. Look, I apologize. Players fuck up. That's a stereotype about players. Players fuck up. But it's true. But some fake ass feel like every drug put together. But yeah, you know, and here's my thing. And again, and like I say, yeah, a functional crackhead. But my thing is, you know, let's see, y'all still on that K2. Y'all like them youngsters on that K12, man. But again, like I say, stereotypes are a funny fucking thing because but when you familiarize yourself with the people or the type of people that you know that you're labeling this way, it doesn't always work that way. But you'll always find a little bit of truth. You know, you can generally see where these things have started, where these ideas have come from. If you need weed after moving to a new city, get a service, you ain't lying. You ain't lying. Motherfucking service be all on the reef. Motherfucker be out back getting high. You know what I'm saying? But again, you know, these are just my thoughts. These are just my opinions. Don't ever take me seriously. I don't know anything. I don't know anything about drugs or drug related stuff. I've never done them. So, yeah, it's K-12 now. They skipped all the rest of the K's. K-12, man. We call that shit grade school. So again, you know, I think that people, I'm not even going to say that people should be careful with stereotypes. You should feel free to do whatever the fuck you want to do. But if you're going to use them freely, if you're going to be very liberal with your stereotypes, I mean, conservatives and liberals, they're stereotypes right there. But if you're going to be very free with your stereotypes, you should at least take the time to genuinely inform yourself about whatever type of person, group, culture, race, you're generalizing, that you're engaging about these stereotypes. And I think that it would change your perspective. And I think that if somebody hits you with a stereotype and you feel yourself getting mad about it, don't do that. Because obviously that person is ignorant to you, your lifestyle or whatever you have going on. And you should actually feel more concern for them, or actually take that as an opportunity to educate them. Because I think that's the problem that we have a lot nowadays, is that we're so quick to want to get mad at somebody, attack somebody. They don't agree with us. They don't think how I think. Let's get mad at them. Instead, take the time to educate somebody. You don't have a lot of opportunities in life to educate someone. Excuse me. So when you have the chance, you should definitely do so. Outside of that, I think it's about time we open up the Denline. I think it's about time we take some calls, see what you guys are thinking. I got to figure out what's going on with these settings. I'm going to have to make some adjustments because it's still on some skipper. I changed the shit in between streams, working on some shit. But it is what it is. Again, make sure you're following the Den on all the proper socials. I'm going to drop that on y'all real quick while we get the Denline booted up. No, not necessarily tired. I mean, it's a lot of talking, but not necessarily tired. I think that it's practice. It's definitely practice, because like, I'm serious. When we reach our goal, and speaking of our goal, make sure you donate to support the Den. We're trying to reach a goal between this channel and the sports channel that I have, trying to convince 1,000 people. And some of you have definitely covered more than that. And I want to say thank you to all of you who have, to find $5 worth of value between, if you're a Den fan, if you're a Sauce Sports fan, as you can see the Sauce Sports shirt, we can kind of halfway see it. And if you find $5 worth of value to donate to the cause, because once we get to that point, we're going to do some dramatic changes to the Den to make a better show. And honestly, when we get to that point, I think that I will have to commit to more streaming and things like this. So right now, like I say, we're doing a lot of streaming in the sauce and stuff like that. It's not a big deal. Just preparation for the conversation. So I think that's all it is. You can call into the Den, 833-284-3336. Again, that number is 833, the number 2, and the Den. So I want to know what you guys are thinking, what stereotypes you may have heard, how stereotypes may have impacted your life, or whatever it may be. As far as we got here, Jackie Aikson, I hope I'm saying that right, Car barely survived. I wouldn't say 99% true. I would say that they are generally based in some truth, but I would lean more towards 72%. I'll give it a passing grade. Now the Asian stereotype about car driving, I have that same stereotype about small Mexican women. It used to be a grocery store I would frequent in a Mexican neighborhood when I stayed in a Mexican neighborhood. And I understand the fear of trying to get out of that parking lot. Ain't too much I'm concerned about in life, other than a small Hispanic woman in a large SUV. It's frightening. It's terrifying. I banned Kenneth, and I'll do it again. Fuck Kenneth. What's the motherfucking deal, man? Who do we have calling into the Den this evening?
This is BB. Darko. How are you?
I'm doing good, doing excellent, V Darko. How are you doing this evening?
Just fine, thank you.
Already. So, what would you like to drop on the topic in tonight's den?
Well, I wanted to speak on the stereotype of the opioid crisis.
Okay.
That is just a white person problem, and it's not, because a lot of black people are doing that too. And it's personal to me because my sister had passed away from that, which I was in the dark about it until, she passed. So I just think people really need to pay more attention to that and, watch for the signs of people popping pills and stuff like that. And the other one is fried chicken, that all black people like fried chicken, which is not true.
Oh, hold on, say
I went all the way to Africa, and they were offering me chicken, and it was like, well, this is what we thought black Americans like. And I'm like, no, that's not true. You need to quit watching videos or whatever you're watching.
So you're not a fan of the fried chicken?
Oh, I eat it, but I don't want them cooking it for me. I wanted goat meat or whatever else they had going on.
Okay.
I didn't go all the way to Africa to eat fried chicken. I want the native dishes. Plus, they couldn't cook it anyway. It was all hard and burnt. I said, stick with what you know.
That's fucked up.
That's all I had to say.
Okay. Well, you know what? I appreciate you sharing that about the opioid crisis, because had a similar situation, and I can relate to that, and it's very true, because, like I say, the impact that it had on me was somebody who wasn't even a person that really was in the pills or anything like that. They actually had gotten to a bad accident. The doctor was like, here, take these pills, you're too young for surgery right now. They want them to be a little bit older because they weren't 25 yet, and they got them, they kind of got hooked on that shit, and I didn't realize how bad the problem was until it was too late. So yeah, I definitely agree with you. It's not just a Caucasian thing. It's a lot of people that are suffering from it, and it's something that should be paid attention to.
I wanted to add this also, that when people, before they think about taking these things recreationally, when they have a list of things that may happen to you from taking these pills, they mean it, because my sister had 6 strokes. That's off of taking these pills. And a cousin of mine had a stroke as well and was in a wheelchair, and my aunt just recently died. They were all popping pills. So take heed to that. But thank you, and have a good night.
All right, you too. I appreciate the call, V Darko. Man. Yeah, that stuff ain't no joke. Man. I'm not going to speak on too much of it, but there's a reason I had gotten into some trouble a while back, and so I used to see a lot of behaviors firsthand, and man, that's all I'm gonna say. is man, you'd be surprised. What's the motherfucking deal? Who do we have calling into the den this evening?
Man, it's your boy Roman.
Roman, what's the motherfucking deal, Roman? What you want to drop in the den this evening, man?
Man, on a serious note, the one before me, man, I'm sorry for her sister's death, man. That's sad, man. Like we was talking about death last then, man. We all go through it, man. And but I do agree with what she was saying about opioid addiction. That's especially a younger person thing, not just a white people thing, man. Young people, especially in colleges, and it's more accessible. The thing is, it became the new cocaine. It became the new, drug, the big drug. You get what I mean? And it's becoming more accessible because it's in these pharmacies where you can buy them legally. It's not like weed. It's not like cocaine. It's not like heroin where they're illegal. Pills, aspirin, that's legal, and people can die from it. So I totally agree on that. But when it comes to stereotypes, I kind of agree with Jay Dizzle. I agree with Jay Dizzle said, man, all stereotypes is based in truth, man. Let's be honest, man. We all got a black family member that's late. I know, Honcho, you got some family members or yourself that's been late before or constantly late. I love my mama, but she can be constantly late sometimes. I can be late. You know, it's most black people. We do love fried chicken. We love soul food. We do. I mean, that's predominantly black people. You know, you got a couple that don't, but it's true. You know, I'm just saying. Now, I'm not saying it's true for everybody, but when you look at the demographic of stereotypes, man, like I say, they are some based in truth. Look at the cooking channel. When you look at white cooks and you look at food channel, what do they season their food with, Honcho?
Salt? I don't know. I'll never watch.
well, well, when you watch it, they only season it with salt and pepper. Okay. You know why? Because most time white people, they'll use herbs. Herbs will be their top. That'll be their season. That's where they get a lot of flavor. When you look at these cooking shows, and I advise you to look at these cooking shows. I'm not being racist. I'm not sounding like ignorant. Really look at these cooking shows. It's salt and pepper. That's it. And herbs. You know, so I'm just saying, it can be based in juice. Now, sometimes you could say it's a little overdone and kind of all over the place. But, you know, I'm not going to lie. I've had a couple white friends, had a couple experiences where the mac and cheese was just looking, oh, my God, it was looking like a clump of barf. I mean, no offense, man, but his mama couldn't cook, and she damn sure couldn't season. You know, I ate it, but the nigga was struggling while eating it. So, just to be nice. Mm-hmm. But, like I said, man, it's all based in truth. Now, when it comes to stuff like, no, and when you was talking about taking it offensively, I can agree with you on that. And sometimes I disagree. Sometimes when people use it too far, you can tell they're using it to hurt people, then I feel like that's when it's wrong. But if you use it as a joke or you using it just to be funny, hey, come on, man. You can't be too sensitive, man. You gotta let shit happen. You know, a closed-minded person that's always too sensitive will never do nothing. You know, you gotta be open to things and laugh about things. But that's all I got, Honcho.
Okay. Well, I appreciate the call there, Roman.
Man, anytime.
Already.
All right.
I guess I got to start watching the Cooking Network. I ain't had no idea. I just threw salt out there. That's all I know. That's what I always assume. Hold on, player. What's the motherfucking deal? Who do we have calling into the den this evening?
Hey, it's your boy Josh again, man.
Josh, what's the motherfucking deal, Josh? What you want to drop in the den tonight, man?
All right, man. But about the addiction and that opioid crisis stuff, I don't really care about ruffling fuzz. I don't really care about what I have to say. I know it might come harsh, but it is what it is. I don't really care because it's almost like for some people I do. If it has people get addiction because people have to take pain pills and stuff like that. But let me get this straight. If you told me not to do some shit, like let's just say for sake of argument, Padre trip, you told me not to go, some bad shit happened to me. Whose fault is it? Yours or mine?
Yeah, it's your fault.
All right. And would you feel bad for me?
Maybe slightly, because I was just thinking, you might have been ignorant young man, and then you were tempted by the foolishness. But
all right, keyword ignorant, right?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just using an example. So pretty much like if someone told me to not take a drug and I take it and, something bad happened to me, unfortunately I leave this earth, I'm not blaming that person, I'll blame myself because I know what I did to myself. So that's how I pretty much look at that. So people talk about, I can't stop taking this, I can't stop doing that. I believe it's a mindset first. And yes, some drugs is hard to break from. I'm not crazy. But it's just I'll come from the mindset that you got to want to do something for something to be done. So that's just my thing on that. But in terms of stereotypes, man, yes, I heard, all the common stereotypes. Blacks are stupid. For sports, blacks can't play QBs. Blacks can't, be in no STEM field or smart field when they go to college and stuff. But the one thing I want to talk about, I don't know if y'all talked about in Sauce, is that pretty much that Russell Westbrook situation where a man told him to get on the knees and do what your dad told you or go back to where you came from. So I just wanted to know if that was you, would you pretty much go back and forth with that fan?
All right. So here's I want to address a couple of points that you made. We'll start with the Russell Westbrook thing. Russell Westbrook, apparently what he said is something like along the lines of get on your knees like you're used to. I don't think that was, I swear to God, I don't think that was a racist thing. I think that was a fucking gay thing. Because let's be honest, Russell Westbrook is like, he's 77% suspect. Like, don't no regular nigga just be wearing that type of shit. He's a suspect, and he was icing his knees up so old buddy capping on. So I'm not saying I believe old buddy 100%, and I'm not saying I believe Russell Westbrook. Maybe I have thunder bias, whatever. But I don't believe it went all the way down like that. And I think he kind of blew some shit out of proportion because he looked like an old emotional ass Ninja Turtle. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, it's hard for me really to buy it. And again, you know, and I hate to say this, and I hate to be biased because we sound like I hate them, but you know, niggas, we emotional. Black folks, we emotional, and we take some shit and always perceive it to be. We go straight to the racism shit with it. Maybe he doesn't recognize how gay he is. You know what I'm saying? He's super suspect. So I think that was more of a derogatory gay thing than a racist thing, if that was the comment that was being said. Part two, the thing you said about opioids, you said, you know, you took my comment about saying being ignorant. You said, you know, if somebody told me not to do something, then I wouldn't do it. But what if somebody told you to do something? What if your physician prescribed you this medication? And so who do you listen to as far when your health comes? Because that's how most people get hooked on these opioids, right?
Yeah. Like I said earlier, like if it's, let me clarify this point. Like if it's a situation where, of course, doctor prescribed, and I'm not talking about if you overdose on your own, then yeah. Mm-hmm. But if it's a case where your doctor prescribed, you take the necessary medications how you're supposed to, and all of a sudden, you know, you take more than you're supposed to, then you kind of bear yourself responsibility. But in some rare cases where you can get addicted off of potentially, let's say, 1 or 2 pills, then yeah, you try to get help as soon as possible. I'm not talking in that type of prescription.
But here's the thing: do you know, like a lot of these pain pills, it only takes a matter of, you know, maybe 3 or 4 days to get an addiction to some of these things. Some of these things are extremely strong, and so that's the thing. Like, and these doctors know it. I seen her talking about OxyContin. They actually hid a bunch of studies. The people who made OxyContin, because I think they got in some trouble. They just probably paid some money and got off. But they hid a bunch of studies basically telling how addicting these things really are. These motherfuckers make money by selling you pills that are extremely addicting, more addicting than weed and some of this other shit. This shit is like heroin, basically. And then they make money selling you the quote unquote cure to get off of it. So they're catching you at both ends. So they're getting motherfuckers addicted to these pain pills. But hey, you're telling the doctors, because the doctors get a cut. Hey, when you prescribing this, or they're getting paid to do these things from insurance companies and from pharmaceutical companies and everything else. And this is why I say it's deeper than that. Now, if your ass just in the street looking for some shit to do to get high, that I understand. And that's why I say the opioid thing is a little bit different to me. Now, like I say, if you just popping some shit, hey, you got to figure that situation out. But if you are prescribed this from a physician who you're supposed to look up to for medical advice, but they like, fuck it, you just the money machine. Yeah, go take this. Here, I'm going. Oh, you hurting a little bit? Let me tell you, man, how easy it used to be for someone to go get stuff like that, allegedly. Okay. You got a fucking small ache, you going through some stuff, you could have a backache or whatever it is, you ain't got to have no record. You go for one of these, people used to come from Alabama, from fucking Oklahoma, from all over the place to Houston on a daily basis, allegedly, and go to these shady ass doctors around town. They making a killing. You've seen a lot of them get busted now. You got $100. Okay, well, yeah, you look like you sick. You look like you hurting or whatever. You got your $100. You got however much. You go to one of these shady ass pharmacies that's in cahoot with the doctors. You pay them their money. You got a script of 100-something pain pills, 100-something, muscle relaxers, whatever else. Sometimes they throw some other shit in there with them. And, once you get this addiction and you have this ease of access to it, because, when you first start taking it, that one pill, that one pain pill, it soothes your need. But your doctor say, hey, well, take this for a month. I'm going to give you a month's supply. Well, shit, after a couple of days, maybe a week, that one pill ain't really doing it for you anymore. It's not healing that pain, but then it becomes a mental thing also. Because, I mean, it's a tough situation, and not all of them are the same. But I can understand what you're saying about people who, just abusing the shit, looking for something to abuse. But there's an overwhelming amount of people who the doctors say instead of doing this and doing that, they encourage them to get on these pills. And that's why I say, to me, the opioid situation is very, very sketchy, because it's not like illegal drugs. Hey, this some motherfucking nigga off the street in some Georgia to say, hey, man, look, man, I got this shit for you, man. This shit good for you. And you taking it as opposed to, your practitioner. So I think that it's a different vibe. Normally I'd be like,
I get you, man. I'm not going also, like, take it from far so because I live with, one of the people that's a nurse right now. She tells me about that all the time, that she the one that prescribes it, so she makes sure that people that doesn't happen, because it can happen not only with opioid, it can happen with any other medication you can get addicted to. So I'm very well aware of that. I'm just talking about the case of people overdose because of pain, and then you end up getting addicted. But yeah.
Okay. But you were saying about the black QBs, and you were saying you kind of addressing the Russell thing. What was your thought? On the Russell thing before I went on my tangent.
Yeah, my thoughts is like, I don't want to call, like, yeah, he do some suspect stuff, but I ain't gonna call him full blown gay because the dude got a wife and little girl, honestly. So I'm just gonna refrain from using that gay comment. But as far as that, it was the right move for the fan to be banned because you don't want copycats to be put into it. Was Russell Westbrook right for going after, I'm gonna beat his mom? No. I mean, that's why he got a $25,000 fine. So punishments were handed out accordingly. People move on in separate ways, and I would highly doubt if a fan probably gonna do that again. But at the same time, players really don't do that because if players really yell at fans like that, it'll be going on more than just Russell Westbrook, because I've been mostly seeing Russell Westbrook in the news doing this. Last time it was a kid, last time it was in Utah again. So apparently everybody just picks on Russell Westbrook, or everybody else around the NBA is mentally stronger than Russell Westbrook.
What if it's a little bit of both?
Yeah.
Yeah, that dude fucking Russell is a character, dog. I got no love for Russell Westbrook, being honest.
All right, man, but I'll let other people call in and say stuff.
All right, appreciate the call, Josh.
All right.
Yeah, man, Russell, like, let's be honest, Russell is a character. Weird little attention. Yeah, he's got some issues. Let's just be honest. Russell has some issues. If that person is your drug dealer, I believe you can blame them justifiably. They make money killing you slowly. Man, this is what you got to realize, man. Your drug dealer, if you have a drug dealer, allegedly, some people do, your drug dealer is not your friend. Okay? They like you because you exchange money with them for a product. You know what I mean? So there's that. You know what I mean? Yeah, man, show Anthony A.B. some love, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm finna steal his recipe. He don't give you recipes like the Cooking Network. He don't give you the real ingredients. Salt and pepper. What's the motherfucking deal? Who do we have calling into the den this evening?
This is Kenneth.
Yeah, Kenneth, what's happening?
What's up, Honcho? How you doing today, man?
I'm doing excellent, Kenneth.
Anyway, shit. I wanted to speak on a little, because I know the lady called in with the whole thing about the opioids and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of want to add on to that, like, but on a little different side of the spectrum. I want to know, what do you think are the effects of, like, what do you think is the cohesiveness between rap music and and kids taking drugs? You know what I'm saying? Like, because a lot of the music that's out there, well, I'm gonna take it back a little bit. Like back in 2015, back in 2016, when Future was dropping that album, that Dirty Sprite album, and, he basically named the fucking album over fucking drugs. So, and then like that album was going all the way, was going crazy with songs like Thought It Was a Drought, and it said, You know, it's like I just fucked, like he had a bunch of, you know, shit that had to do with drugs and basically codeine in that album, you know what I'm saying? Songs like Codeine Crazy that he dropped later on, basically promoting codeine, you know what I'm saying? And Future Back Again, like when he had that one Mask Off hit where he had Molly and Percocets over the whole song over 30 times, you know, like things like that. What do you think are the effects of, you know, kids and the music that they listen to, and even to today, you know? I just want to know what you think is, you know, the effects on it.
Well, I mean, it's pretty simple, Kenneth. We've had this discussion quite often.
I'm gonna hang up and listen.
All right, do that. So, my thoughts on that, Kenneth, is basically these rappers are peddling the drugs for the drug dealers. These rappers have these kids out here looking for that. 'Cause I want to be like this guy when I grow up. If that's what he's doing, I want to be on it. A lot of these kids are foolish and stupid and don't realize that a lot of these rappers are rhythmic actors. Nothing more, nothing less. They're acting in time with a beat. And they're selling you this entertainment over instrumentals. And it sounds really good, but the majority of it is not true. Those who did live it, well, they're encouraging the youth to engage in the same behavior that they did. A lot of times you hear a lot of stories about jail and everything else. And you wonder why, you know, I say the things that I do. We can look at Houston, you know, when Screw was alive. I mean, shit, back in the 90s, when screw tapes were what they were, boys was talking about drink freestyling, gone. And everybody in the city loved the music. Therefore, everybody in the city engaged in the behavior, and it became an epidemic. Like, you got to understand that that small culture infected the whole United States. Now, everybody's sipping lean. Much as I love Screw, much as I love screw tapes, Houston, the small little screwed up clique, and not saying that people weren't doing it elsewhere, but it wasn't as cool. It wasn't a thing. I mean, they was doing the shit back in the 70s and 80s, you know, like when it was easily acceptable. Motherfucker go drink some cough syrup, get fucked up. But what Screw did with the music, they turned it into a culture and made the shit cool. And niggas in Houston embraced that shit. Motherfuckers saw what we was doing when Houston had its little run in the early 2000s. Atlanta and other places and all that, they start stealing that whole screwed up. They start putting little screw shit in their verses and they screwing up the music and start talking about lean. Nobody was talking about lean. Let's be realistic. New York niggas talking about lean now. Nobody in New York was talking about fucking lean. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was an H-Town thing for damn near 20 years, you know, and before it really just became a mainstream culture thing. And then everybody talking about lean out there, but that ain't what it is. But you young niggas don't know shit. And so you got a lot of motherfuckers who, so you just look at that, and that's just a small example of how music can impact people. You know, you got motherfuckers, you got even, you know, Meek talking about now that when he got to jail, you see these niggas fucked up off Percocets and pills and shit on the fucking, you know, doorsteps and shit in Philly and, you know, all the way. I mean, and this is why I say what I say about the music, but it ain't gonna change. You know, this is what I say about our culture. We're embracing ourselves with this shit, but we feed into ourselves because that's what we want. That's what we need. That's why I don't blame nobody else when you engage in these behaviors. That's why I say what I say about T.I. You're not going back and telling niggas not to do the shit that you was doing. You know what I'm saying? You got some little nigga over there who been getting punked his whole life. He over here listening to the music. He don't know what to do. You know, he maybe coming from a single parent home and his pops ain't there to teach him how to, you know, stand up and be a man. So, you know, he want to prove that he a man. He don't know how to do it, but it's this nigga that he look up to on some fucking rap record. Tell the man, go get a pistol, go shoot that nigga, go, you know, kill everybody, go do this, and this. These little niggas ain't got no brains. Ain't nobody educating these motherfuckers. You know what I mean? They don't know what you say. They go running and gunning. Emotional. That's why I say a lot of this gangster shit ain't gangster shit no more. A lot of these niggas are emotional dudes with feminine ass ways and guns. And it's a lot of motherfuckers dying over men with fucking male bodies but feminine ways and pistols. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, sipping on some scissor. That was 3-6 and UGK. You know what I'm saying? That shit slid from the Houston. The 3-6 used to fuck with the city tough. That Memphis mud. I think Memphis was really like the next city really fucking with that shit super tough. Because Memphis and Houston always had a connection from 8 Ball and MJG and all that good shit. You know. What's the motherfucking deal, man? Who do we have calling in to the den this evening?
Man, Honcho's me one more time, man.
All right, what you got?
Man, there's some I just thought of while I was listening, and I want to ask you, tell me if you agree or not, man.
Okay.
So, do you realize how the media and the world has kind of done a great job, I would say, of stopping cigarettes, stopping tobacco? I would say, especially for the youth. I'm talking youth here. You've seen the commercials. Everybody's seen the smoking commercials. You've seen when you try to go on YouTube, you see the ads, you see the commercials, you see everything. And smoking, when it comes to smoking with youth, it's very down. As a person who's only 16, I can tell, because ain't nobody smoking no damn cigarettes. Yeah. You know, you gonna look like an old ass, broke ass nigga if you trying to smoke some cigarettes. Let's be honest with you. You know, but I feel like it's so funny. The media has made it more accessible, and you don't see a lot of ads and videos when it does come to opioid addiction, when it comes to lean, when it comes to that, it became more accessible and more easier to get. You know, like, think about it. You said it best when we talk about lean. It's more accessible to get that stuff. It's easier to get it. It's people do it, you know, but you don't see videos on that. You've seen all about you said all about cigarettes and tobacco, but not about something that's opioids, which is the number one killer for the youth is opioids and pills. But that doesn't get talked about. So my question for you is this, Honcho. Do you think the media is trying to target the youth when it comes to opioids?
And here's the thing. Now, I will be honest. I have seen commercials. I have seen a lot of these billboards, and you know, rehab is a fucked up thing because rehab is a money machine too. Because I've known people that went to rehab and then got back out the day or two later and back on what they was doing. But I've seen things that have targeted talking about opioid addiction and trying to, you know, I've seen commercials, you know, talking about call for help. But again, you got to understand, are these genuine commercials? Are these people trying to guide somebody to a rehab center that's trying to make money off of either insurance?
That's the commercials I see. It's like, it's always go to this rehab. Like, you remember, you ever seen that one commercial with that big ass rehab that's all pretty, looks like a mansion? You know, what am I going to learn from that? I feel like it's more come to this rehab more than I'm going to help you with the addiction, you know? So I think I just wanted to ask you that, man. I just thought that while he was talking, man. So I just wanted to get your opinion. I don't see what people saying to Den about it.
Okay, all right. Appreciate your call there, bro.
All right, man.
All right. But yeah, the opioid addiction should be embraced, and again, but you have a lot of people who are taking advantage of this shit. So, and again, you know, so go to rehab, go to this, but rehab isn't working. Or, you know, what was it? What is it now? I used to forget the shit, man. I forgot what the shit was called, but the treatment pills for opioid, you know what I mean? Addiction. They selling that shit. What's the motherfucking deal? Who do we have calling into the den this evening? Hello, hello.
Honcho.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, I know you can hear me. Okay.
How you living, man? It's Man Things.
Man Things, what's the motherfucking deal, man? I'm good, man. How about yourself?
Man, I was just thinking because I got home tonight and I've been having like these weird issues with like falling asleep until like 3 a.m. and then I wake back up at 5. So I actually just went to the corner store to get myself a couple of brews and see if that helped. And I just so happened to slam it onto the stream when we were talking about addiction and rehab centers. So I just wanted to make sure, you know, that I didn't miss out on the chance to chime in on this because I am somebody who has had to come down from, you know, a little bit of alcoholism after I got out of the military and stuff like that. So I do have to chime in on that if you don't mind.
All right. Would love to hear it, man.
All right. So here's the thing with addiction, man. There's, like, from what I've learned from what, you know, people who are way smarter than me tell me, there's kind of like basically 2 types of addiction to boil it down. There's the person who has the addictive personality that no matter what it is that they're on, it's a psychological loop. It's a feedback loop. It gives them happiness, and they're replacing that oxytocin and that serotonin with that you would normally get from like accomplishing things or having a good interaction with somebody. They're replacing that with a substance. So that's why you see people with all different types of addictions to, let's say, like tobacco. There's people who are addicted to the nicotine. There's people who are addicted to the mouthfeel. There are people who are addicted to smoking that just like to watch themselves blow the smoke out. So that's the habit-forming side of it, where it's like the psychological thing. And then there are other people who struggle with addiction because of trauma or pain or any kind of issues that haven't been dealt with, that they don't know how. So it's, instead of dealing with that, your brain starts developing these coping mechanisms. And if it can latch onto something like tobacco, drugs, or alcohol, it absolutely will. So those rehab centers, man, them things, there's no data to prove that they increase your chance of becoming clean and clear after going through their program. And they've done all these different kind of metadata studies. Like a metadata study is where you take every study over the past, let's say, 20 years, and you look at all the data that they've gotten, and you draw the conclusions from the data. They've done a lot of different metadata studies on all this kind of stuff, and it's a 50-50 shot. You can spend 30 or 40 grand on rehab and not make it in, which makes you a repeat customer. And that's that whole thing where these rehab centers, man, they're just vultures, and they're preying on people that have things that need to be answered, and telling them that, you know, something that happened either younger in your life or a really deep-rooted part of your personality that you have to work to fix can be solved with these 12 easy steps. But you can only stay here for so long before we got to bring the next round of people in for 30 grand a pop. And, you know, we're going to tell them the same thing, because chances are 50-50 you're going to be back here, and that's just repeat business for me.
Man, that's crazy.
So that was something that I wanted to just kind of spill on the line, because, you know, like after I had gotten out of the military, I was dealing with issues related to like post-traumatic stress and stuff like that, and I didn't know how to cope with it, because, you know, I made 2 major life changes. It's completely and totally different, so there's like a shock to your system there whenever you transition from that. And then the other thing is, like, you know, you never get taught how to deal with things like that until you start talking to someone. So yeah, man. But that's like the 2 types of the root of addiction that you got to look at there. And I didn't want to gab for too long, but hey, I did just want to tell you, man, Honcho, you got to check your voicemail, fool. I left you a voicemail like 3 days ago, and you ain't replied to me yet.
Man, I am the worst with voicemails, and I definitely got to get better with that. And I got you. I'll check it after the stream. I got you. I'm gonna check it.
Well, man, I ain't gonna tell you that you got to get better at it, but you know, I still got some plans that I wanted to go over with you, and I just wanted to remind you so that it didn't get lost in the background. But you keep being you, and you know, we'll keep figuring shit out.
All right, that sounds good. But I got you. I'm gonna check that out, and I will definitely be in touch with you there.
All right, sounds good, man. Hey, to everybody in the den, y'all be cool like y'all be cool.
Shout out to Bad Things, man. That's why I fuck with Bad Things.
All right, later, man.
All right, you have a good one. Man, that was some very interesting information, man. Look, hey, you know, like Bill O'Brien's got to be a better coach, I got to be a better voicemail checker. All right. And that'll be bad, because I'll look and I will have a fucking phone full of voicemails, or the fucking Denline full of voicemails. What's the motherfucking deal? Who do we have calling in to the den this evening?
What up? What up? How it goes?
It goes well. It goes well.
All right.
Yes, yes. So, how are you doing this evening, Miss Licious? What would you like to drop in the den tonight?
Oh man, you knew I was gonna call on this subject. Okay, so since we talked about a lot of that other stuff before, so this is the most recent thing. So I guess on Facebook now they have this thing where they're like, okay, child says, fuck you, mom, you know, and then it's like, okay, now respond back as a white person. So I was like, I don't know what the hell they want, because me personally, I put, you know, Top's kid in the throat now, you know what I'm saying, type thing. You better not ever curse at me again, type shit. That would be my response, you know. So I don't know why the hell people always make it seem like, you know what I'm saying, that kids don't get whooped. I'm so tired of that stereotype, because I whoop the shit out of my kids.
That's
okay,
a good
that's
one.
not gonna fly.
I don't think nobody covered that one. That's a good one, but I forgot about that. But carry on, my fault.
Yeah, have you? Yeah, you seen that shit, right? So yeah, I'm like, man, and then, cause like I said, I'm white, you know. So I mean, my mom wasn't like that. I would never dare to cuss at my mom, and she's definitely not like me. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, she's as white and German as you can think of, and I would have never dared that shit. My mama would have fucking, you know, she would have fucked me up. You know, she was one of those type of people like, I brought you into this world, I'm going to take your ass out. And then I get my ass whooped with a wooden spoon type shit. Like, that shit don't fly with everybody. It don't matter what color you are. Some people just do that shit. You know what I'm saying? I seen on one of the videos not too long ago where this lady had her child, you know, inside some store. And she even had, like, a leash on the child. But he kept throwing shit, you know what I'm saying, down and all this and that kind of stuff. And dude was like, you got to get out. Like, if you can't contain your child, you know what I'm saying, you got to get out. And she was like, well, what do you want me to do? I'm not going to hit my child. And this was a black lady. Oh. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, stop that stereotype shit. That shit gets on my nerves.
We kicked her out. She must have got, her car got disqualified or something, got rejected when she tried to go to the black club. Leash on the kid. Don't want to whoop the kid.
I mean, yes.
We ain't claiming her, goddamn.
Yes. You know, so that, and then and then now also, you know, my husband, he's got dreads now. You know what I'm saying? And it's funny because motherfuckers will come up to him like all the time now and be like, yo, you sell weed? You know, and it's like, really? So only motherfuckers with dreads sell weed? Do you get that, Honcho?
Let me tell you, I've gotten that shit so much. Not so much now, but again, the only place I got that, like I say, right now I'm around primarily white people. Never have I had anybody come up and ask me any shit like that since I've been here in the last few years. But back when I lived in a Hispanic neighborhood, when I've lived in black neighborhood, that's where it would always be. But the funny thing about it, it would be white people in those neighborhoods would ask me for weed. So now that I'm around all the white people, they don't ask me for the weed because they probably got better plugs anyway. But when I'd be in those neighborhoods, like I'd go to the corner store or something, say, man, hey man, you know, you say you got the dreads, man. Say, man, you know, I can get some weed, man. Nah, I'm the fucking police, man. Don't ask me no shit like that. I don't know, man. I can't help you. And even if I did, I could have something on me. I don't know you, dog. I can't help you, you know. But yeah, I definitely used to get that shit a lot.
Oh, that is too funny. I swear to God, my husband says the same thing. He's like, I'm the fucking police now. What? Oh, man. And then I just wanted to comment on what Roman said about people and fucking, look here, Food Network shit. Okay, Food Network don't count. Because I seen some shit the other day where these motherfuckers was microwaving fucking fried chicken and shit like that. Did you ever see that video? Mm-hmm. Oh, my God. Okay, I don't do that.
What kind of sinning is this?
Okay, and salt and pepper is not my seasonings, okay? It's got to be seasoned salt, motherfucking garlic salt, you know, or garlic powder and all this and that kind of shit, you know, stuff like that. I don't know where this just salt and pepper shit comes from. That's not everybody. I mean, maybe Food Network does that, so, you know what I'm saying, they pretty much telling you to use seasonings. Like, that's not the only seasoning you have to use, you know what I'm saying? But I think that's like the neutral seasoning, I guess. You know what I'm saying? So that's why they say that all the time. But as far as, white people don't season it, that's some bullshit. That is so much bullshit. I've went to some people like, okay, we got a Fuller's restaurant here, right? And I'm talking about, okay, like I wanted to try chitlins You know, I always hated the smell, but this is what I was always around, okay? I was always around black folks, and they would make chitlins and shit. And I was like, all right, I want to try it, even though it smells like shit, but then y'all act like this is the fucking bomb, so I'm going to try it. And the shit was so nasty because it was so bland, you know what I'm saying? And like vinegary, I don't know if it was just because that person cooked it that way, I don't know. But that shit was nasty. And then I went to this Fuller's restaurant, you know what I'm saying, from white people, and they had some chitlins up there, and that shit was the fucking bomb. Like, that stereotype, that shit just, it so gets on my nerves. But, you know, sometimes, you know, you put yourself out there like that. You know, I guess white people got the cooking channel from what Roman says. You know, y'all got All-Star, you know, shit like that, you know, whatever. And then you wonder why people think what they think, because it's mainly on TV. Nobody really goes by, you know what I'm saying, what you see around yourself, you know what I'm saying? Because for the most part, everybody be like, oh, well, I have a friend, you know, there's this and this, and they don't act like that, you know what I'm saying, or whatever, you know, personal experience, I guess. You know, when you actually really get to know somebody, everybody just bases it off of TV and movies, you know. So, I don't know. People need to stop that shit because everybody's different. Everybody got their preference. It don't matter what color you are, you know. That shit's just crazy. I wish people would just leave that alone. Like, I love fried chicken. You know what I'm saying? I do. And fried pork chops, like, I don't want to eat it no other way. Well, okay, that's a lie. I like rotisserie chicken, too, but it got to be seasoned with seasonal and stuff like that, okay, but... You know, I like fried foods. I love soul foods. You can't get me on no fucking beans and shit like that. And yeah,
so
hell
now,
yeah.
Now you change the topic into.
I know. I'm sorry. I started thinking about food. My ass got hungry.
Man, look at you. We had the whole chat and changed and everything. But here's the deal, Miss Lisa. Look, I don't want nobody accusing me of playing favorites. So I'm.
I know. My 5 minutes is up. I see the time, y'all. Damn.
But I appreciate.
All right, it's always been good talking to you.
Alrighty, if it's slow boogie, feel free to call back in.
You know it. All right.
Alright. Oh man. Oh shit. Oh shit. That's fucking funny. What's the man? I apologize for your ears on the ring, man. What's the motherfucking deal? Who do we have calling into the den this evening?
What up, Honcho? This is Jay Dizzle.
What's the motherfucking deal, Jay Dizzle? What you want to drop?
Man, that last caller, what's her name?
Lady Licious.
Man, like her voice, it just reminded me of a couple of situations I found myself in. Because while she's talking, the whole time I'm thinking, she black.
Yeah.
I cannot picture a white woman talking like that. And it fucks me up. So I thought about this one time. I was in the hair store.
Yeah.
You know, only reason a nigga go to the hair store is for two things.
Mm-hmm.
Or three things. Brush, grease, or wave cap.
Yes, sir.
That's the only three things we going there for. And I was there for all three.
Yeah.
So I'm in the aisle, and I hear this black chick up at the counter just talking about, oh, fuck that bitch. I kick that bitch out. Just talking all this hot shit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, God damn, bitch, can you just tone it down? So I'm sitting up here, and I finally found my grease. Now I'm looking for a good brush. So, you know, I spent about a good 5 to 7 minutes. So I get to walking toward the end of the aisle where the line was. And the girl stopped talking. So I figured she left. Next thing you know, I step up. It's like two people in front of me. The girl at the checkout started talking. And I'm just staring at her. It's an Asian bitch. Fucked me up. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, what the fuck? And the nigga behind me was like, yo, is that bitch talking like that? And I'm like, bro, I thought it was just me. And he was like, nigga, I thought that was a whole black chick. And I say, nigga, she didn't sound, that bitch sounded straight up out the ghetto, bro. I was like, where she picked that shit up at? Then I had to think about it. Nigga, we in PA, so I don't know what part of town she grew up on, but she must have grew up where the niggas was, because she damn sure didn't grow up in the little Chinatown area. No. Hell no, not talking like that, bro. Fuck me up, because I just, while I'm looking at it, I'm like, this shit can't be real. It did not look, and she looked like a regular, typical Asian girl. It wasn't nothing abnormal about this girl at all. It was just her voice and the way that she spoke. And it fucked us up. And so we just started laughing. Then we get up to the front of the line. What y'all laughing at? Yeah. I'm like, man, ain't nobody ever laughed at the way you talk, bro. And then she was like, oh, boy, I get that all the time. And I'm just like, what the fuck? It was crazy. It was weird. It was just very, very odd. Yeah. And another time, I went to Colorado. And I think it was the first time I went. I drove all the way up there. And I was kicking it with my uncle. So we was walking around downtown and shit. And it was this group of white dudes that was behind us, and they just kept talking and talking and talking. So, you know, me and my uncle, we just walking and talking. I'm like, God damn, them white boys loud. So they started saying some shit, and I turned around. It was a group of niggas. I mean, I'm like, what the fuck? And then they just looked at me, and I'm like, what the hell wrong with y'all? And they was like, excuse me? And I'm like, why y'all talking like that? Talking like what? What are you saying? Have we offended you, sir? And I'm like, nigga! Like, it fucked me up, bro. It just culture shock. And my uncle was like, hey, man, that's how they talk up here. That's wild. So I said all this to say this. She is right about, it's really, most of the time, it's not about the color. It's really about the region. Because I'm going to tell you this, and I'm going to call you sister girl because, goddamn it, I just can't see it another way. I'm sorry. Call me racist, bias, or whatever. But when you go across that Mason-Dixie line and you go up north, I'm going to tell you that shit right now. Joy and Tony Satcheries is, and we know how to pronounce that shit. Yeah. White people are called it shashur or whatever the fuck, and they don't fuck with that. And prime example, again, this was in Colorado. Yeah. I was kicking it with one of these dudes my brother worked with. And he was like, man, do y'all eat jalapenos? And I'm like, yeah, we eat jalapenos all the time. He's like, dude, I can't. That's too spicy for me. I'm like, what you mean? You just don't like the taste? And he was like, no, dude, it's too hot. And I'm like, what you mean it's too hot? It's a jalapeno. That's just a flavor. Yeah. That shit ain't hot. And he was like, dude, how? He said, man, I break out in sweats. I can't. It's hard for me to drink water. And this a black dude, mind, talking just like this. Yeah. And I'm like, man, what the fuck wrong with this nigga? Like, where they make niggas like you at? You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. So I'm just like, bruh, I cannot live up north, bro. It's a whole different breed of person. Yeah. And they may look like us, but they don't dress like us, and they damn sure don't talk like us. It's just weird.
That's fucking funny, though. That's funny. That made me think about California people and how they like pronunciate they shit. Say player. Hey, hold on, let me holler at you there, player.
And motherfucker. And will kill your bitch ass at the drop of a hat, bro. They be so serious. Man. But the threat sounds so funny, so your first instinct is to laugh in their face. But you know damn well you better not do that because your life will end immediately. You know what I'm talking about?
What to be a wrap? It's game over. That shit is fucking hilarious, though.
It's a whole different, bro. It is a whole different breed of people. That's why I be telling people, you know, driving trucks all the time, you get to meet a lot of people. Yeah. And you meet a lot of people from different areas. And, bro, people are fucking different. They may look similar. Like, I have met some of the blackest niggas I have ever met in my life in Utah. In Salt Lake City, Utah. Where they get you dark-ass niggas at way the fuck up here? Like, really, it snow all the time and shit. It's hot as fuck down in Texas, and niggas ain't this dark. Where you niggas come from? Oh, man, I've lived here all my life. What the fuck? Like, bro, it'll shock you. It will shock you what you go out there and find. So, like her, you just got to get out and experience it. And it's fun, and you get to learn a lot about people.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, it either make you miss home or it make you want to move, depending on what you like.
Yeah, that's it. Wow, I mean, I'm bamboozled about the Utah thing. That just blew my mind,
bro. It's and some of them is African. I'm talking about straight up out the motherfucking tribe, nigga. African niggas in Utah. What? How'd you get up here? How? It's crazy.
Man.
It's fucking crazy.
Jay Dizzle got a message for you. I'm sure you can figure out who it's from. Says, tell Jay Dizzle he look like a chewed black licorice flavored gum.
First of all, I'm not that dark. Second of all, I'm fat. Why don't y'all talk about that? I'm a fat nigga. And Tuti Charlie, she called me fat a couple of streams ago. Yeah, I am fat. I never hid that. I'm a big nigga. I've been for a while, so y'all can snap on me about that all the time. Hell yeah, I like to eat. I like everything fried. You motherfucking right. So it is what it is. I know what I am.
They say, well, Fat Albert then.
I'm a big fly nigga. Just put it that way. Just picture a big fly nigga. This ain't no notorious B.I.G. It's more like a heavy D type nigga around here. You know what I'm talking about?
Okay.
That's more like me.
Okay. The overweight lover heavy D. Okay.
There you go.
Okay. Yeah. But he say love you, man. Just let you know that's from Ray Ray, man. You know Ray gonna talk that cash shit.
I fucks with Ray. Motherfucker look like he lived on top of a mountain with a fucking wolf as a pet. That's what the fuck he look like. Look like an old lumberjack. That motherfucker ever wear one of your shirts, Honcho? I'm telling you, something going on. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I ain't got nothing. Look, I see you getting two stings in it. One, I ain't even got nothing for you.
It always come back to the shirts, don't it?
Yeah, see, I got nothing for it. I like them shirts. Fuck y'all, goddamn it. The ladies like it. They, you know what they say? I'm acting bad in my plaid. Y'all hating shit, goddamn.
Man, hell no.
Man, I hate it.
Only person like them shirts is Felicia, nigga. Get the fuck out of here with that.
Stop and sit there and look. You know, I get plenty of compliments. I'm gonna rock the plaid tomorrow just because y'all hating, goddamn. Shit, I probably got too big for all my goddamn plaid. Certain hoes fit tight lately. Shit, I've been eating too much. But that's a BET, man. That's a BET. But yeah, man. Shout out to Jay Dizzle. You know he talking cash shit. You know what I'm saying?
Always.
It is what it is. We come to expect it, man. If he wasn't talking cash shit, man, we would think something was wrong, man.
Something wrong. Exactly. But anyway, that's my call. I'll let somebody else get in.
All right, man. Appreciate it, Jay Dizzle.
All right, man.
Already. And shout out to Ray too. Yeah. Look. Yeah, if y'all don't like my shirts, you know, you can hit that streamlabs.com. You know what I'm talking about? Let me move that out the way for y'all. It's the perfect time to promote. If I click the shit, there you go, buy and hit the Den show. What we got? What's the motherfucking deal? Who we got calling into the Den this evening?
It's Edmund.
Edmund, how are you, Edmund? What would you like to drop in the Den this evening, Edmund?
So I had a question. What would you say is the more dangerous part in Houston, Third Ward or Greens Point?
I mean, here is the deal with that, okay? And if you in either one of those areas, depending on where specifically, because I mean, you could technically be at U of H in Third Ward and it ain't you cool on campus. I mean, you have to be a bit more specific. You in either location in a specific area where you don't belong. I mean, shit, danger is danger. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, what do you got to be more specific about what you mean.
Well, let's say you're working as a contractor, and you know, as a contractor, you leave your van or whatever vehicle outside. So would you be more paranoid about working in North Houston or down in that central downtown Houston where the hood is at?
Man, speaking of that shit, I mean, either one of the motherfuckers shit broke into, it don't matter. I got my shit broke into in fucking Third Ward when I had my my Delta 88, you know what I'm saying? And the motherfucker just stole the fucking radio and stole my CD. Matter of fact, it was the day a Zero CD it came. I forgot which one it was. And the motherfucker stole the face off the radio. Didn't steal the radio, didn't steal the bang, didn't do nothing. They just threw a fucking rock through my back window, you know what I'm saying, while I was at motherfucking practice. And, you know, so, I mean, shit can happen anywhere, you know what I'm saying? Appreciate the love. Shout out to Sarah for the love, man. I appreciate it. Dropping them Benjamins. I'm gonna have to look. I'm telling y'all, I'm gonna have to look. I got some merch to get on top of, man. I'm finna get on it. I'm finna start dropping some new merch real soon. I gotta get on that. No, I mean, it's just, again, it's all coincidence. I guess if you parked in the wrong place and the wrong motherfucker walking by, shit, your shit can get broke into anywhere. You know, you can live in a nice area, motherfucker on the prowl, shit, they going car shopping, shit, they'll get in your shit. So, I mean, I don't have the fucking Houston crime statistics right in front of me right now, so I don't know what to tell you, you know what I'm saying? But, I mean, if you feel like either one of those places is dangerous for you, then I would suggest you just not be in those places.
Right. Because, you know, you gotta, wherever there's work, you gotta make it work somehow. So
I mean, but my thing is, why are you concerned? Are you going to be taking a job in one of these locations?
No, I don't know. I just, whenever I go there to work with my dad, you know, I feel like I have to be alert 24/7 because you know, you got to be prepared for anything.
So, how many times have you gone there to work with your pops?
I would say maybe a handful of times.
Okay. Out of those handful of times, how many times have you had an incident?
Well, 0.
Okay. So, maybe, just maybe, things aren't as bad as people tell you. Maybe sometimes you just got to go by your own experience and not listen to what the numbers out there say. If you've been all right and you never had an incident, then, you know, maybe that's not something for you to worry about. I think sometimes people worry about things that end up never even ever happening. So I try my best not to, but there are a lot of times I do, I'll be honest. But sometimes you can't let thoughts like that. I mean, sometimes, as of this point, having those thoughts have been a waste of time for you because none of those things have happened. You never had an incident. You've been out there multiple times. So why be concerned about it? Until something actually does happen, then you worry about it.
Well, I guess maybe it's the news coverage, media, that kind of thing puts those thoughts in your head.
Yeah, that could definitely be the case, man. So, well, you know, maybe don't watch the TV, don't watch the media. I really don't watch, like, honestly, I be getting the news late. I'm telling you, I was lacking on fucking Hurricane Harvey. I was like, oh shit, this nigga Harvey already here. Let me go get some water. Ain't no water in this bitch. Cause I don't watch it. Like, I honestly, and I'm a much happier person for it, because if you sit there and you watch it, their whole job is to sell you some bullshit and make you think that things are worse than it is, because now, where do you go to make sure you're updated on every threat that's happening? The news. If I watch the news and they told me some shit that had me scared and thinking about something, well, hey, I need to know what the next threat is. I need to know what the next problem is. This is the source that's going to tell me what I need to be on the lookout for. And they keep telling you bullshit. They throw a kitten fashion show in there. Bullshit. You know, hey, look at this new garden that we found. Some bullshit. Your cell phone is going to explode in your face. And, you know, just a bunch of stupid ass shit, man. Like, the whole point is fear mongering. And so, man, fuck the news, because the likelihood of any of the things that are going to happen to you on the news are so small. How many people in the chat got Ebola? Because remember when Ebola was big? You ever get that Ebola? I ain't never get that shit. They swore up and down everybody's finna get Ebola and we finna get wiped out. Swine flu. You know what I mean? Like, shit, nigga, I was eating pork chops every day, player. I wasn't worried about no motherfucking swine flu. Like, my thing is like, the news, the whole job of the news is to instill fear in you so that you keep coming back, that you keep watching, just so they can sell advertisements. You look at, like, this is what you got to look at when you watch shows, listen to the radio, man. Fuck what they're talking about. Listen to the advertisements. And that'll tell you the demographic that they're catering to. And if you watching or listen to some shit that's always got a bunch of shit catering to old people, maybe you need to change what the fuck you're watching. Okay? And what I mean is because that's where they sell the most fear. Because I guess that's the market. I don't know what it is. But you got to get away from that shit, man.
Yeah, definitely. One last comment.
Wait, I'm not sure if you're ready.
Wait, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah. Do you think it's a bad thing if a girl has had sex over 200 times?
I mean, shit, it happens. I mean, look, here's the thing. You have to decide what is important to you. Most people probably gonna be like, that's a no-go. Fucking that porn star had like 500 motherfuckers lined up. Nigga still fucking with that bitch. So, I mean, it's up to you. I can't tell you. I mean, that's probably, I'll be honest, I don't think that's a thing. Like, I'm not saying I don't think it's a thing, but I think it may be more common than you think. I'm gonna be honest. I think. Go ahead.
Because I think it's stereotypical that only men masturbate. I think the facts show that females masturbate more than men.
What is that?
And so,
dude, are having sex 200 times.
The point is that I'm just saying, like, is it really surprising that a female can have a higher body count than a male?
No, because all she got to do is fucking open her legs and niggas gonna come in. Don't fucking matter. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, a woman can lay in the middle of the motherfucking street and cock her legs up. It's gonna be a nigga he gonna run into a fucking light pole, crawl out his fucking car, and go try to fuck that bitch. Just because niggas don't give a shit. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I saw that Ivy League shit. So, but here's the thing. Like, no, if a bitch want to fuck, she gonna have a plethora of options. She gonna have a multitude. It's an endless supply of weenie out there for women. All right, and you look now, the quality that they get, hey, that's on them. So it really don't fucking matter. You know what I mean? So if a chick want to have sex with a different motherfucker every day, it's more than possible. You know what I'm saying? So
you're basically saying that a guy will hit anything, even if the chick used to be a male, and transform into a transgender.
And on that note, Ed, man, good evening. But for the sake of answering the question, yeah, they obviously doing it for some reason. Goddamn, it's motherfuckers that's doing it. Shit, Alex Jones on the phone. Like, I mean, come on, man. Like, obviously, if motherfuckers are being gay, then obviously motherfuckers are fucking with trannies. Like, let's just be factual here. If we're gonna be fucking real about that shit, come on, man. That's fucking Ed, man, dog. Fucking Ed, man. What's the motherfucking deal, man? Who do we have calling into the den this evening?
Hey, it's Lee. I had called before.
Okay. Hey, what's up, Lee? Yeah, I remember you was telling us about some of the crazy shit that was going on in the industry, man. How's it going, Lee? What would you like to drop in the den this evening, man?
I think that last caller was off his motherfucking rocker, man. I'm trying not to curse on your show.
Man, fake, man, cuss. I've been cussing all show, man. If you fucking cuss, this is about opinions uncensored. So if you got to let it fly, man, shit, let that shit fly. Ain't nobody tripping.
No, but that shit cool. This show been real diverse. You had like people talking about seasoning chicken and all types of shit. In my opinion, I think it's like black folks like Lowry's, pro-black folks like season all. Puerto Ricans and Mexicans like adobo and shit. And I think them New York Dominicans like sazon. I don't know if you know about sazon and shit. So don't kill it and rap them that shit.
No, I ain't familiar with that. I don't know. Hold on. You just, explain the sazon again. I might have been on that. Hold on. Let me see.
They got some different little seasonings you can get to like spruce your shit up. Like if you cook it.
motherfucker with the bouillon cubes and shit.
I don't know if you see the Dobo in the store and shit though, but like I know a diverse amount of different people too and stuff, and everybody try to cook different. Okay. But I guess some white folks do just use like seasoning and just salt and some pepper, and everything tastes bland. But there might be something to that with the satanic shit. Remember you was talking about that pentagram shit and everything and stuff a couple of shows ago.
Yeah. Man, hey, matter of fact, man, there's something I had to ask you because we kind of started getting into it, but we kind of like trailed off. You were talking about the cat and the cat saved your life, but then we like kind of went to a different part of the story, and I was still trying to figure out exactly, how the cat did that.
Oh yeah. They tried to poison everybody with CO2. I got the medical records for it too. But the funny thing was, like, old girl that gave me the cat, she came by my house. It was a couple days before Christmas.
Yeah.
Literally a couple days before Christmas, 2015. So me, Wayne, and this goofy motherfucker named Nick was over at the crib, right? And it's like during the middle of the day. And we was looking at a bootleg of that movie, The Hateful Eight?
Yeah.
That Quentin Tarantino movie?
Okay.
Which is ironic because the whole movie about people poisoning motherfuckers' coffee and shit, right? So she give me a hug before she leaves. And when she walk out the door, I'm like sitting up thinking like, damn, like she smelled nice. You know how, like, if a chick hugs you and stuff, like her perfume or whatever, or her body wash would be on you? Yeah. And I'm like, damn, I can still smell her body wash or whatever. And Wayne's like, yeah, I smell it too. And I was like, nigga, fuck you. Right? And we started laughing. I'm like, how the fuck you smell my girlfriend motherfucking perfume and shit? She ain't hugged your old ass motherfucker, right? So we laughing our asses off. And then the cat walked by, and he walking sideways about to fucking die.
Yeah.
The cat saved our asses because, look, this is the cold-blooded shit, right? By then, I was already feuding with the fucking local cops out there.
Yeah.
Remember I told you that the detective was talking mad shit, and some of them other people, they was popping shit, lying about that girl.
Yeah.
So the fucked up thing is, like, we couldn't call the sheriff to call nobody and shit. We couldn't call 911 when we was getting poisoned. Because the fucked up thing is, like, I jumped up when the cat was, like, walking sideways. Wayne jumped up, and then he said, now I know what the fuck you felt like when your face got fucked up. And he started passing out, and I grabbed his arm and sat him back on the couch and shit. And I called this broad named Spring, and Spring called the EMTs. And the EMTs wasn't dirty. The fire department came through. Fire department was dirty. They told Wayne to go back in when we was all in the hallway at my old apartment and shit. But the cold-blooded thing was the dude they asked me to kill to get the record deal, he had pulled up a couple of days before that in a Ford F-150, a bright red brand new Ford F-150 with firefighter lights on it and shit, trying to sell me a sniper rifle. And I got good aim. Mm. A lot of people might not know that. But my eyes was like 20/20 and shit. I got one eye that fucked up after I had that little accident where my face got scarred. Mm. Remember I told you the motherfuckers tried to kill me, but they couldn't do it. You see, I'm still here talking shit about adobo and whatnot.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's what's happening, because I was thinking about it the other day, and I was like, man, I remember he said the cat, and I know it was a few days back, and so I don't think I hadn't heard back from him because I meant to ask you. I said, yeah, whenever if you call back in, man, I want to ask about how the cat has saved you, man.
Yeah, the cat was the first one that started dying. If we didn't see her cat dying, we would have fucking sat up in there and just passed the fuck out. Because Nick's goofy ass was already knocked the fuck out. He went to the back of the fucking house and passed out in the extra rain.
Yeah.
And I wasn't thinking nothing because I'm watching a movie and shit. So, like, the thing is, if you start getting CO2 poisoning, everybody just start passing out. Now, this is the weird thing. Like, today you had a show where everybody was talking about the opioid crisis. Mm-hmm. What if I told you they try to set up shit like dominoes with some of them different drugs? They try to set people up like dominoes. Like, you ain't noticed something? Like, certain people got in office at different times, and they family used to sell heroin back in the day. But when they get in office, all of a sudden, everybody started getting on heroin. And I'm talking about the Bush family. They used to sell poppy and opiates and whatnot out in China back in the old white wig days and shit. They put that shit in the old High Times magazine and shit. If you look back at old High Times magazine, they used to talk about that shit. But this the wild shit. They get in office, and all of a sudden it's a thing with opium. Opium and them different pills and shit. Like, some of those pills are just like they heroin. You don't think that's kind of funny for certain people to get in office and then, like, all of a sudden they have the popularity with the damn drugs coming through the music? Like, I'm going to tell you something crazy. They said that they just passed a law where they trying to legalize Special K. Special K is a date rape drug.
Yeah, I seen that. They got that. It's called, I forgot what the esketamine, like what they put, like ketamine or esketamine, something they didn't. I seen that shit, though. I did see that shit. They with the nasal spray or whatever.
Yeah, but they trying to fucking pass that law saying what? They gonna use that for a depression drug. That's bullshit. You know why they doing that? They doing it because some of the people that I got beef with got busted running around with a bunch of date rape drugs. They preemptively trying to legalize different shit because of, like I said, that executive order from December 21st of 2017. And you know how, like, y'all was mentioned about some of the music artists running around promoting some of these damn drugs that's getting everybody fucking destroyed. If you look at some of the damn states, look, y'all on YouTube, look on YouTube and look up the news in some of the states where they have some of the channels where they have the newscast. Peep out how bad the human trafficking coincide with how bad the opioid crisis goes in the same states and or cities. Just peep that out. Like, peep out how bad it is out in North Dakota. Peep how bad it is out in Indiana. And then tell me if some of them places not part of the human trafficking route.
Okay. That's
I bet you they are.
I'll check it out. But here's the deal, Lee, man. You know, I don't want nobody thinking I'm being biased. I see him talking about it in the chat. You know, we got a 5-minute rule, but you was speaking on some interesting shit, so I had to get a couple more minutes. You know what I'm saying? So, but to let you speak on what you speak on. But man, I appreciate your call, man. Hey, man, look, you got to call in more regularly, man. Like I say, because I be, you know, you talk about some interesting stuff, and I definitely like to hear it.
Yeah, also I wanted to talk about how they hating on Jay Prince and shit too. If I do get the call back, if the show slow down, I don't know how long you gonna have the show going, bro. Yeah.
I'll probably only go 2 hours tonight, but man, that's something I want to talk about. I might dedicate a show to that tomorrow because I seen some motherfuckers saying some shit, and I did want to speak on it because somebody sent me that, and I may do a little something. I may dedicate something to that tomorrow. So if so,
yeah, I ain't feeling that shit. Yeah, I think that's some grimy shit right there for real.
Yeah, I think
coming from one cat from New York, because y'all might not know it, but some of the motherfuckers from New York tried to get me to sign up with their ass too, and they did me kind of funny style on some bullshit. And you ain't gonna believe who the fuck was supposed to be working with they monkey ass. And they got a double standard. They be doing all of us from the Midwest and down south dirty than a motherfucker. And they think it's like okay for them to be having them fucking Haitian dudes sitting up there hemming them up, fucking extorting them and shit, and they don't say shit about it. And them motherfuckers working for the CIA. They a bunch of fucking informants and shit trying to kill everybody.
Man, you have to say this before because this sounds like something we're gonna have to deep dive into. But like I say, we go, man. Say for real. I'm gonna talk about it tomorrow. Look, just because I want to hear what you got to say.
I like motherfucking Rap A Lot records and shit too. So like, I ain't feeling them talking shit about Jay Prince. That's some bullshit. Okay. I like Zero too.
Okay.
So that's some bullshit. You know what I'm saying?
Well, okay. In the mirror, they know about road. That's a BET. But look, man, we're gonna talk about it tomorrow. I'm gonna be expecting the call from you, Lee, man, because I want to hear what you got to say.
All right, right, man. Stay up, man. Like I said, you got a good show, bro. Man. Y'all just stay up and stuff. And this episode had me rolling. Some of them people that was calling it. It's funny as hell, man.
That's a bet, man. I appreciate your call, Lee, man.
All right, see you.
Already.
One.
For sure. Appreciate it. Man, I boy know about rap a lot, know about roll. Man, hold on, man. Look, y'all, we finna get to some shit. Yeah, because I definitely did want to talk about that motherfuckers, you know, that whole situation with Jay Prince. This is gonna have to dedicate a show to that tomorrow, man. Definitely gonna have to talk about that. What's the motherfucking deal? Who do we have calling into the den this evening?
It's Edmund again.
Edmund. What's going on, Edmund? What would you like to drop in the den?
Just a quick question. Why do you think many Californians are moving to Texas?
Because it's more affordable, more opportunity.
So would you ever move to California?
Not willingly. It would have to be a worthwhile opportunity.
Okay, because I was seeing documentaries about how, you know, there was the homeless population, you know, increase in cost of living, rent, stuff like that. So it must be, you know, tough living in that state. Right?
Yeah, I've seen about
at this junction.
Homeless people. I mean, people got jobs and shit and living in cars. That shit's crazy, man. That shit is super crazy. But yeah, that's why everybody's coming over here. It's more affordable. That's why everything in Houston is getting high now, because it's a huge influx of people from California moving to Houston, and that's why Houston's becoming a bit more liberal, and that's why the fucking shit, the cost of living is steadily increasing. You know, so
is that putting any fear on you that Texas might become a California kind of state in the next few years or decades?
No worries. Never. Boy, you know what? Come and take them. You say you're in LA, it's a day party. Look, I ain't never been. Look, I've been to LA technically, but I ain't never been throughout the city of LA. I stopped on a flight. That was it. But no, I ain't worried about none of that shit. This is Texas, man. Like I say, the big cities may, you know, have a little bit here and a little bit there. But I don't think that ultimately we have too much to worry about as far as the state of Texas, you know, the state of Texas becoming like California. You know what I'm saying?
Well, hopefully people vote red and stay away from the blue. And love you, Brandon.
God damn it. God damn it. Oh man. That was it is what it is. I have nothing for it. I shouldn't even took your goddamn call there, man. That's now I know you. I'm only giving that man one goddamn call. But here's the deal, man. So here's the deal. You know, I've got a call coming in. This looks like a trustworthy number. What's the motherfucking deal? Who do we have calling into the den this evening?
Honcho, I gotta ask you a question, man.
All right, what you got there, man? I'm not Edmund. Goddamn.
All right, man. I got you a question. What do you think is all the hate for the liberals and the blue? Like, I'm not being no bias. This is a real question. I know you're more of a conservative person. But why do you think people have more of a hate or very much dislike for liberals? In your opinion?
I think it's just about what crowd you're in. Because if you go to a more liberal arena, they're going to have the same type of hate and disdain for more conservative-minded people. But I'm going to be honest with you. There's not really hate and for the liberals or for left-leaning or whatever and vice versa. Sensible people really are in that middle area and they're reasonable. You know, what the hate is for the extremes on both sides. So the liberals hate
I agree.
the far right, as they like to call it, and the conservatives hate the far left. Because what happens is the people who are sensible and going on about their lives, minding their business, living their lives, and focus on themselves, doing what they got to do, and living the best life possible. Yeah, they may be, you kind of lean into one party or the other, but they're not making or complaining about life as much as some of these other people. It's the people on the fringes who are making everything seem like it's just the worst shit ever. It's so terrible. These people are taking over and they're doing this, that, and the third, and these people are taking over now. But what it is it's when you support some of these things, and again, when you associate with a certain party, that's why I say I don't necessarily associate with either party. I like to think of myself as an independent. I do have, if I was to say, if there was a scale or something, I probably would lean a little bit more conservative. But my thing is, I honestly and really and truly, I don't give a shit. Like, as long as you let me live my life and people are allowed to live their life. Because like I say, I'm not judging anybody for what the fuck they do. It's none of my fucking business. As long as you don't cross my threshold and you don't cross my boundaries and you're respectful to me, man, I'll respect you. Even if I may not agree with your lifestyle or something, I may crack jokes, but it's just for the sake of being funny. It's not out of disrespect. I don't hate anybody. But again, there are those fringe motherfuckers who are super far left, and there's fringe motherfuckers who are super far right. And I'm pretty sure I don't agree with a lot of super far right fucking policy, and I'm sure I definitely don't agree with a lot of that far left shit. But I think it's just the crowd that you're amongst. But I do believe that a lot of the shit that this far extreme left is pushing people who are even considering themselves, on the left. They don't want to be associated with this shit. I think a lot of it is the pronoun thing. I think this new standard for abortion is starting to push a lot of people off. They're like, man, I may have felt, this particular way, but now I'm starting to see it reaching an extreme. I think people are more concerned about being able to survive, jobs and things like that. The liberals are more about how you feel in your day-to-day life. Well, and they're pushing more policies that don't apply to the majority of Americans. And so I think people are looking for, when people talk about America first and stuff like this, I mean, that's something that they can relate to, as opposed to, well, you have to pick one of my 762 pronouns to make sure you identify me by if I feel this way today. Like, motherfuckers don't care about that shit. You know what I'm saying?
No, I totally agree, man. I would say I'm lean more like, I lean more left, but I would say I'm mostly middle, man, because at the end of the day, you have to make a source of a living. It's not all about how you feel about me, how I feel about you. At the end of the day, we all got to live, eat, and we all got to eat and live. So I agree, Honcho. That's all I wanted, man.
Okay, well, I appreciate the call there, Roman.
Yeah, that's my last call, man. I just thought of that question, man. I know I've called in 3 times, but I'm done for the night, man.
Already, baby. It's all good.
Anytime.
Already. Yes. I apologize. 335. I gotta. Because here's the deal. Like, with the thing, like, I can see certain numbers. So certain numbers that I'm familiar with, even though they're not saved. So certain numbers I can see, and I'll be like, okay, I'm pretty sure that's so. So that's what I meant by a trustworthy number. Edman's number isn't trustworthy. There's always some weird shit that happens when those calls come in. So yeah, that's what I meant by a trustworthy number. But but my thing is that's my thing, man. I really don't think that anybody, for the most part, I don't think people hate each other. I think if most people were, and I think most people are kind of in the middle, but they're slightly on one side or the other. But I honestly feel that's how most people feel. But it's those, again, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. So the people who are making the most noise because they're just feeling like the whole world is crushing down them is in that fucking far corner. It's like 3 motherfuckers, but they making so much noise in that fucking corner, on the left side of the room. And they yelling all the way across the room at the fucking 3 or 4 motherfuckers in the corner on the far right side of the room. And it's us in the middle that are hearing it, going this way, going that way. I'm gonna slap the mic, pimp hand strong. But it's going over our heads, and some of that shit is just, we catching the little abstract noises here and there. And we're hearing a little bit of this and we're hearing a little bit of that. And so that's why we get impacted by a lot of the conversation. But in reality, we're not affected by a lot of this shit. But there are things that are starting to happen because you're starting to see more and more people. Like, I'm gonna be honest. I used to not give a fuck about socialism. Come on, man, get the fuck out of here. You know, this America's capitalist. There's no way people are believing this, and that's even when I had more liberal beliefs, I would say. But you're starting to see certain things that are taking place. There are certain agendas, and again, look, I don't want to turn into coast to coast. But I ain't gonna lie, my boy Lee, when he called it, look, I started thinking like, man, we need to do the DN coast to coast type shit. I'm gonna be the Black George Nori. But some of y'all don't even know about that. I ain't even gonna go into it. Y'all gotta Google them shits. But you know, and I do listen to coast often. So, you know, if I'm up late and, you know, sometimes I ain't got too much going on, or if I'm, you know, going somewhere and it's a little bit late, and I'll cut the fucking radio on and listen to coast, and man, it's just some interesting things. So like I say, I'm not into every fucking conspiracy theory. Like, I have my limits, but there's certain shit that, I mean, you just can't put past. I don't put anything past anybody. So that's what I say with coast to coast. I listen to it. I fuck with it. And just some of the things that people come on there and say, you know, I think you have to. Some people are very good at what they do. And what I mean by that, they can be very good liars. Some people believe everything that they say. And what happens on coast to coast, you got to catch some of them. Some motherfuckers be saying some shit, but when they have this, again, like I say, you check their tonality and their inflection and the way they're saying things. Some of that shit is like, this shit sound like bullshit. But there's some motherfuckers who, again, they could be actors or whatever else. Some actors are very good at portraying a certain emotion. But sometimes people call in, and some of those stories just are quite interesting. Some of them sound like bullshit. Some of them sound like some motherfuckers who just, you know, bored and want to make some shit up and get on the radio or whatever. But some of those stories are really interesting. It's a big planet we live on, and a lot of weird shit that happens. Let's see, we got a call here. What's the motherfucking deal? Who do we have calling into the den this evening?
Hey, it's Rashida. How you doing?
Rashida, how are you, Miss Rashida? What would you like to drop in the den this evening?
I just wanted to talk about the stereotype thing right quick. Okay. I think it becomes dangerous when people get fear from it. Like if you've never been around black people and the only thing you heard is that they violent or or this or that, then that's gonna make you act a certain way when that could not even be the situation that you in. Like the guy was talking about earlier, how he had fear when he go to the hood. Most of the crime in the hood is black on black anyway. So you already coming into the situation fear, and you could make a situation go left that wasn't even intended to go that way.
That's true. That's a very good point. And yeah, because, you know, the energy you bring into things can often be the energy that you receive from it. So I think that's a very good point.
Right. If you come into the situation talking about you fear for your life, but you don't have no reason to fear for your life, then you more on the offense. You know what I'm saying? So.
And so, like, how do you think that impacts people? Because you have a lot of people who repeat a lot of stereotypes and have never been in a situation. Like, you know, I know a lot of black folks that ain't never really been around white people like that, so they have stereotypes for white people. I know white people who haven't really been around a lot of black folks. Like, you know, I might be their only black friend. Hey, Honcho, you're my only black friend. Or I got a black friend. His name's Honcho. That was stereotypical of me making a stereotypical voice. But but my thing is, you know, and so these people have a different perspective, and they're really impacted by the media, the music, or whatever it is that they see. And so that kind of controls their thoughts. Do you think, how do you think fear plays a role on them for not really having a real understanding of the people that they're talking about?
I think it makes a dangerous situation for everybody, because I remember a story where a young black man was knocking on the door and he ended up getting shot, and he was just trying to get some direction. And a lot of that came from fear of you know, the young black men, because of what they've heard without ever really having that much experience with black people. So the first thing is, he's trying to break in my house, or he trying to harm me, or he trying to do this or do that, without even giving him a chance to see what he wants. You already, he's approaching me in a negative way.
And I believe that. I mean, I had a situation. I remember when I was young. I was with a friend of mine. Again, when I told a story about eventually, you know, his sister having a mixed kid, and I found out there was some very racial undertones in some of their commentary. But again, I used to go with them to deliver phone books, and I get a cut out of it. And so we would hit certain neighborhoods and we're delivering phone books, and I go to drop off a phone book at one of the houses. This motherfucking paranoid ass motherfucker jump out and pull a knife on me. What do you want? I'm like, bitch, I'm delivering your phone book.
That's what I'm saying.
Here's your yellow pages, asshole. Well, what are you doing here? I'm like, bitch, I'm dropping off a fucking phone book. And like, you know, it was about to get real hostile real fast, you know, and it was a white guy. And then, like I said, I guess, you know, his mom saw what was going on, and she came up, and then as soon as he saw her, and she said, you know, he was cool. Well, we're just, well, I thought it was, you know, something, and it just changed. So I was like, I just told you, bitch, I just left a fucking phone book on your fucking porch, essentially, that wasn't there before, you know. But, you know, and so, again, it is what it is. I didn't let that really, well, probably at that time it did have an impact on the way I thought about stuff. But in the long term, you know, hey, I can't blame him for being ignorant. And, well, I can't blame him for being ignorant. That's him, you know, being sheltered off or whatever else, you know. But, you know, again, it is what it is.
But I think a lot of it also comes from people just being around other races, because I was around other races at a young age, you know, going to school and different things and working in the work environment. So that helps break down some of those stereotypes. Like if you only around white people or you only around black people, those stereotypes don't really have a way of getting broken down. So you feed into them because you don't have anything to offset them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that's true. And so you kind of reinforce the motherfuckers, and then again, when you continue to reinforce. The
news don't help, and the other images you see does not help at all.
Yeah, and then so I'm glad you mentioned that, because we were talking about the news earlier. And I was telling you know, when they been called not to really rely on the news, because their whole job is to fearmonger. I'm gonna kind of spin it just a little bit. Do you think that, because a lot of the time when you see on the news, it's black crimes, or you know, it's a black suspect or whatever it is. Do you think that reinforces negative beliefs within the black community? Do you think that makes us, you know, less trustworthy of our own kind?
No, I don't think we could get any less trustworthy of our own kind.
Damn, we had negative trust already. God damn.
Right. I mean, if anything, we recognize the person that did it. So, I mean, I don't think that really affects us as much, you know.
That's why.
I hate to say it like that, but, you know.
But I mean, you know,
it is what it is.
Yeah, trouble, because we all know some motherfuckers into some old suspect. We know too many motherfuckers. Let's be honest. If you didn't grow up anywhere, low income, impoverished, or whatever, you know plenty of motherfuckers who up to some shit. You know plenty of motherfuckers who got a quote unquote hookup, and you know it's some old low key underhanded shit. But it is what it is, because when you just used to it, you know you don't think of it in a negative fashion. But it's a lot of this shit that we approve of that ain't really you know, all the way kosher, but you know, we feel like it don't hurt nobody, so we ain't even tripping on it. But yeah, that is what it is.
And the other thing I just wanted to say was, just because the stereotype don't apply to you does not make it any less true. Because I really believe stereotypes are just exaggerated truth.
Okay.
Everybody's not gonna fit into it, and just because you don't fit into it, don't make it less valid. I'll say it like that.
Okay. So I got one more question then, with that being said. Chicken and watermelon, does that apply to you?
Yeah. But I also like different kind of seasonings, though. I like Sazon, I like Adobe, so I mean, I guess I'm a little mixed up.
Yeah, so you must got some Dominican or Puerto Rican, whatever he was saying, who was saying use those things. Look, you got some type of Afro-Cuban in you or something like that. So that's
right.
Using that shit. Okay.
And actually, my favorite food is not soul food; it's Mexican food. So I don't know. I guess I'm all mixed up in here. I don't know.
Man, when it's gonna be fucked up when they build that wall, we ain't gonna get none of that shit. That's my biggest fear right there on the cool, man. If they build a wall and they send all the Mexicans, the real Mexicans back, and we don't get no real tacos, no real Mexican. I'm telling you, I had some old fake ass Mexican food one time. That shit was disgusting. I vowed never to have to eat that shit again. But, you know, If they do it, we might be in trouble. I'm look if I got to marry somebody so they can stick around, hey, we got to make this. We got to save our Mexican brethren. But
I don't understand how we got labeled with the chicken and the watermelon anyway.
Man,
everybody likes chicken and watermelon.
I think it was a Southern thing. Let's be real. I think the chicken, the fried chicken, was a Southern thing because everybody in the fucking South, as far as I know, like chicken. But then I think it got tied into maybe a slave thing. I don't know. And then when niggas started dispersing all around the country and shit, they was taking it with them. So I think it applied. Maybe I got to go back and look at the origin of that, but that's what I think. I think it's look, hey, it's hot out here. We're gonna eat us some watermelon. It's hot than a motherfucking. I think it's just
that's probably true. I always wondered about that though.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. So it'll be you gonna mail some tacos. That's a bet. That's what I need. Like I gotta have some authentic. Like I can't do it that fake. The closer, or the further you get away from the border, the more suspect the Mexican food is. That's my theory. And I don't be eating no shit up there nowhere near Canada. You getting fucked over. If I'm sketchy. If it ain't a bordering state, I don't know. I don't know if I can trust the Mexican food. Yeah, taco.
Somebody said Taco Bell. I said no Taco Bell, Taco Hell, no.
Yeah, that shit. What you mean? What you mean? Taco Bell is legit, 100% legit. I want some Taco Bell right now. No, I'm fucking with y'all.
Taco Hell. The only good thing they got is the sauce that you put on your tacos, on your authentic tacos that you should make at home.
No, I don't even fuck with that. I can't fuck with the sauce. But Miss Rashida, I appreciate your call as always.
Nah, don't be trying to cut me off because I didn't call Sunday and I didn't call Monday.
Oh, you stacking up? Oh, you stacking it up? Okay,
that's
okay.
Right.
Okay, well,
that's right. I got some time on reserve.
Okay,
I got some reserve.
Well, since you didn't call on Sunday, that means we didn't get
right. I'm keeping track of my minutes.
Oh, okay. They roll over. Got them rollover minutes. So since you didn't call Sunday, where that confession at? Since Sunday is Confession Sunday, our eyes are on you, even though we can't really see you, but we looking at you and your screen name.
Oh, well, you know what? It's been nice talking to y'all. I'm going to let the next person go, please.
See how we acting, man? See what I'm saying? Okay. One day.
I'm going to try to have something Sunday if you don't cut off early, because you had cut off a little early.
Yeah, because I said
I caught the end of it.
Yeah, because I said I've been kind of going to start going 2 hours so that way I can bring better content. So that way I ain't just kind of, because sometimes once it gets over a certain amount of time, it kind of gets drug out a little bit. So I want to keep the vibe fresh. I want to keep it, content good. And then sometimes, we end on a cliffhanger, but then we'll bring it back and, continue the conversation the next evening. So,
you got to cut some of them boring callers off, though, because some of them people, I don't know what the hell y'all be talking about. I'll be like, what's going on here? I don't know. But, that's the problem right there. You need to cut some of them people off.
Okay, you got to. Look, you don't have to email me a list of them boring callers you're talking about, so I'm going to take notes and see who what numbers I got to start avoiding. Just just shoot it to the email, to the Den Show live at Gmail, so I can see who what numbers I need to start avoiding, so that way we'll have better shows.
Okay, the hit list. It's gonna be the hit list.
Okay, yeah, that's what I'm just put them on the block list. People gonna be calling, it's just going straight to put the show on. I don't understand.
That's right.
Okay, I got
you. Yeah, I like that idea. Well, I'll be talking to y'all later. I'm going back in the chat because these people in here crazy. They're cracking me up.
Well, that's the best, Miss Rashida. I appreciate your call.
All right, thank you. Talk to y'all later.
Absolutely.
All right.
Yeah, and secret emails. Sorry about that. Yeah, my secret email buddy don't email no more. They stop emailing. So I already beg a man, say for the drink your brewski. Already. V Dark, you say you got a confession. That's interesting. Is it? I don't know, because that was an interesting confession that you had dropped the other day. That might be tough one to beat. Ain't nobody want to call in after that. Everybody was scared. They ain't had nothing. They couldn't fuck with that confession. All right, what's the motherfucking deal? Who we got calling in on the Den this evening?
Hey, man, it's Giant Mess.
Giant Mess, what's the motherfucking deal? What would you like to drop in the den this evening?
Well, I was just thinking about the whole thing about people moving away from the left or liberal politics or whatnot. It's like, I consider myself a centrist because I can never go, like, full scale, like, say, like, how everybody thinks everything Trump says is, like, godlike on the right, and then they do the same thing with, like, Bernie and Cortez and Hillary on the left. Like, I could never, like, agree with everything that they say. And I think the major problem with everybody wanting to go more to one side or another is because they feel like they either have to or they're going to, like, maybe get disavowed by their friends and family. And I think, like, a lot of the people that are moving away from the left, they're thinking about some of the, like you said with the abortion thing, it's like you can still kill the child while he's on the umbilical cord outside of the stomach. So, in that one state, I don't know if it got any further than that one state, but and then, you know, you have the right saying, well, if you want my guns, come and take them, kind of thing. And it's like, well, the problem is that eventually the government will want to, because eventually we're going to start trying to be like everybody else. I mean, like, look at some of the people on the right who, like, worship Putin now because of this thing, and the same thing with people saying, well, I'd rather live in North Korea on the left than be under Trump. And I just feel kind of like it's one thing after another. People saying, well, I don't like this person and I don't like this person. Like, I had to be a centrist because, number one, I could never agree with all politics on either side. Number two was all the people who ran this last term, except for maybe one or two that were, like, independents, I just felt like everybody else was full of shit. And I don't really like voting on the basis that every time you watch, say, like the debates, it's like, do you ever hear anything on the debates that is worth, you know, voting for?
Few and far in between.
Because, you know, they always want to talk about, like, okay, well, like, there's certain things that, like they said, like, I believe that there is climate change. I don't think it's particularly global warming, but I think that any time of climate changes in nature, or even in the middle of the city, you got sinkholes. That's a climate change. You know what I mean? Because now you're in a place that maybe is dried up or hasn't gotten enough nutrients in the ground, you know, things like that. So I think that there is a need to be concerned, but it's like, well, what are the things you're going to do to change it? And regardless if they're left or right, they're going to go, well, either you don't agree with the fact that there is climate change, or you have no idea how to deal with it. And I think it's the same way with, say, like, abortion and hospitals and or healthcare, sorry. And, like, all the things sound good, but when it comes time to, like, get down to it, it's like we don't really have a long plan, especially since, you know, every 8 year, 4 to 8 years, you vote in somebody else. And then it almost feels like it starts all over again.
That's true. It does. It seems like, because it's almost the same thing, you know, the Dems have possession, then it kind of leans a little bit right, then eventually a Republican gets voted into office, then you know, the Dems take the House or whatever it is, and then, you know, eventually another Democrat gets voted. It's like this back and forth exchange, and nothing happens. So it's like, you know, some policies get made and somebody else, another party gets in, they, you know, try to erase those policies and change it up, and then people get tired of that shit, then it goes to the other side and different bases are fired up. So I agree with you. It just seems like a cycle of nowhere. And now it's to the point with politics where it's almost more about, you know, stopping the other party instead of getting something actually done. We're more concerned with making the other party look dumb or some shit that really doesn't have to do with benefiting anybody, but more with the optics of a situation. We're fighting against this party. It's not about we're doing shit for the American people. We're just fighting against each other, and it looks good. We're winning this fight, even though you ain't winning as a regular citizen.
Yeah, exactly. And it's kind of like, you know, like I said, with the healthcare, you know, it's damned if you do and damned if you don't have a good policy. Because even with, like, under Obama's care, like, there was many insurance people who had insurance and good insurance. They all had to move to another insurance company that fit under the guidelines. And some of them, their premiums raised up so high that they were like, you know what, I'd rather take that hit at the end of the year, because they had that thing where they were taking out money from the taxes because you didn't have a plan under the My Michigan healthcare or whatever. And they were like, well, you know, I don't go to the doctors that much. I'd rather take a hit out of my taxes than have to pay this, you know, this amount the whole year every month.
Yeah.
And, you know, and then I read, you know, the things that the Republicans are doing and then what the liberals are fighting against as far as, like, some of the new bills are concerned. And it's like, you do realize that eventually you're not even going to have any doctors here, because, I mean, like, look, or they're going to be few and far between. Because, I mean, like, if you really think about it, some of these hospitals ain't even funded by, like, actual, like, some of them ain't even real born American citizens. So they can leave and go to another place and start up a hospital over there, and they could fucking just, you know, leave us high and dry. Yeah. I know some, like, there's a few people that I've read about that were from, like, India or, like, Pakistan or somewhere else that got, you know, wealthy and then started up hospitals here. I mean, if they really wanted to, they could just bolt.
Okay. Yeah. That is absolutely true. And again, like I say, you know, it is a very unfortunate situation. And politics, again, like I say, it's not something that, you know, it can definitely be a, for lack of a better word, a turn off. But I think nowadays it's the hot topic. It's, if you ain't got nothing else to argue about, if you ain't got nothing else to get fired up about, then you know what? Hey, them goddamn dirty liberals, or hey, those fucking stingy ass conservatives, or whatever it is. It's just a hot topic. It's something for people to talk about. I saw somebody say the other day that politics is the new weather. You know, people used to say, hey, how's the weather? Instead of that, now it's like, you know what? It's fucking, you know, what's going on with the president, or you know, or whatever else it is. Or what's up Mueller up to? What's Trump done today? What's going on in Russia? Like I said, so I think it's all craziness, man. So I definitely agree. It's a lot of crazy stuff going on. So I could agree, I guess, with the centrist view, and not really leaning too far one way or the other. But here's the deal, Mr. Giant Mess. I apologize, but got to cut it short here. But I appreciate you calling in.
All right.
You have a good evening.
Thank you.
All right. Appreciate the Benjamin love, Sarah. Sweet City woman, Chi-Town. What's the motherfucking deal? The earth will survive even if we don't. Shit, I'm trying to get some of that. Look, these motherfuckers coming up with all this DNA altering shit. I'm trying to get some of that cockroach DNA. Them motherfuckers fucking live forever. Them motherfuckers gonna survive nuclear blast and all that other stuff. Okay, well, I'm glad you came through and see what's shaking. But here is the motherfucking deal. It's about that time. And I know I got off to start with 10:10. And I was about 10 minutes late. A little less than that. I was like about 7 minutes late. So yeah, it's about that time. We're a little bit over, so it's all good. It's all love. I'm looking at y'all, and yeah, man, it's a lot of stuff, man. You gotta read up on some of these things that they've been talking about with the changing weather patterns. And I agree. I don't think it's climate change, but I do believe that it is it's climate change, not global warming. What's the motherfucking deal, man? Who do we have calling in to the den this evening?
This is Professor Dizzle. What's up, Honcho?
Professor Dizzle. What's the motherfucking deal, man? What you want to drop in the den this evening?
I want to look at the opposite of what y'all been trying to say. I want to counter the argument per se.
Okay.
That stereotypes is like the extremes of shit.
Okay.
No, they pretty much based on certain facts. Not that it's 100% factual, but come on, goddammit. You know what it is. Okay, hold on. Hopefully my fucking signal will sustain itself, but here we go. Just think about it. Sometimes when you watching the news and when you hear a crime that's committed, you ain't even got to see the picture. You already know what it is. Look, I'm gonna keep it a buck. If ain't nobody finna call in to keep it 1,000, I'm gonna call in to keep it 1,000. So if you hear about a motherfucker robbing a liquor store, got away with $67, who the fuck you think that is?
Yeah, that's your
all
local,
right,
that's
then.
your local neighborhood.
Y'all can miss me with that bullshit. Straight like that. If you hear about a motherfucker coming home and finding his wife in bed with another man, he killed both of them, killed both of their kids, and then kill himself. Who is that?
I ain't pointing no fingers, but
when you hear about a motherfucker going to the school with a fucking trench coat on, don't get searched or nothing, and shooting up little motherfuckers in the school, who the fuck is that? Okay, when you got a motherfucker living out in the country, getting into a 15-minute shootout with the cops and survive, who the fuck is that? Oh, I'll wait.
We know.
I'll wait.
No,
y'all can miss me with that bullshit. Y'all know goddamn well some of that shit is what it is, goddammit.
We're gonna have to have a fucking den game show one day. Guess who? I'm gonna have to figure that out. We're gonna have to do some other. I'm gonna have to do some figuring how we can make that happen. But yeah, that's facts though. I mean, when motherfuckers commit certain crimes, you already know who, what, when, why, and where. You know what I mean? And so definitely, you know, your local beauty supply get robbed. We know who did that.
Yeah.
Man, speaking of that though, I know you said you had just got a hold of some of that Tommy the other day. Have you caught some more of his content?
Who?
The Tommy Sotomayor guy.
Oh, nah, I watched a little bit of it, you know.
I'm gonna tell you
that one made a lot of sense, and he was spitting some facts. It was harsh.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's coming from me. This nigga is harsh. But, you know, he's quite abrasive.
Yeah.
But, hey, sometimes you got to be, man, to get down to the root of it. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
You got to pull hard to pull the root out.
Yeah.
But
and I agree. That's my beef with Tommy. And I'm going to tell you, my only beef with Tommy, well, not my only beef, is, you know, a lot of the shit he says, it has some truth to it. And
yes,
but there is definitely a undertone of hate. Like, you know, I talk about a lot of shit, but it's honestly from a position of wanting to see better than my thing with Tommy is like I think he caters to an audience to say certain things, but he didn't been played somewhere along the way. But I can't deny that the nigga is fucking funny. The nigga is funny though. Like is the one you got to see is one I was from a few years back when he went in on Wendy Williams. If you ever get a chance, catch that.
Oh, I gotta look that.
Man, he went.
I gotta look that up.
He went like it's like I forgot how long. If I find it myself, I'll shoot it to you. What he said, he's like, man, don't act like y'all don't know that nigga. That nigga was named Wendell. That nigga used to play for the high school basketball team. He averaged 23 and 13 a game. You know, he would have went to the league if he ain't tear his ACL. Like, that nigga had me down. But, yeah, Tommy funny, but he do got some shit about him. But here's why I really stopped fucking with him is because, you know, you pop all that shit, but like I said, when the Tariq Nasheed situation happened, that nigga holding up that damn WWF belt. Come on, man, stop playing, man. You over here playing, you know, all on Vlad and shit. But then when he got into that accident with the black chick, my car costs more than your house, and he popped out, he got fly with that bitch. You know what I'm saying? And it was like, man, nigga, you act just like the motherfuckers you be talking bad about, and that's kind of why I stopped kind of fucking with him because. It's like, nigga, it was a couple other things, but yeah, it's some sketchy shit with him. But I can't lie, the nigga is funny though. The nigga is motherfucking funny though.
And I got a couple of other little takes too, because a few things is coming back to me.
Okay.
The Russell Westbrook situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, he should have got back at the fan, but I think he should have got back at him in a James Harden, Kevin Hart, and Reggie Miller and Spike Lee type of way. You take it out on his team.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? And Russell Westbrook is very capable.
Yeah.
You just bust their ass, and every time you go running down the court, you look at that motherfucker. And you tell him, every time your ass say something, every time I come to this bitch, I'm going to bust y'all motherfucking head until you learn to shut the fuck up to give your team a chance to win. Because I'm going to take it out on them. You know what I'm talking about? I ain't got to threaten you. I ain't got to threaten your wife. I ain't got to threaten none of that. I'm going to take it out on your team. And make me some money in the process while you paying me to be here and bust your team ass.
Yeah.
It's many ways he could have took it. And yeah, he a sensitive nigga. He just is, and you could tell. You could just tell by how emotional he gets all the fucking time.
Yeah.
Just always emotional with everything. This nigga left me and didn't even call me. Bitch, nigga, y'all ain't fucking. Like, what kind of shit is that? Let that man move around. The motherfucker wants to leave. He tipped out. He don't owe you a motherfucking thing. Well, I thought we was brothers. Motherfucker, we not brothers. We two niggas that got drafted by the same motherfucking white person. That's all the fuck we is. Get the fuck out my face with that bullshit, niggas. I didn't choose to be here.
Yeah.
This wasn't my option. I had to come here. Shit.
Straight up.
Niggas be tripping. Niggas be on some other shit sometimes. If a motherfucker don't fuck with you, fuck him.
Straight up.
Stop sitting up here and being concerned about other motherfuckers because you feel, come on, man. Fuck that nigga. Now, if he get out of pocket and disrespect you, then yeah, you check the motherfucker, of course.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody above getting checked. Now, I agree with that shit 1,000%. What the fuck else is y'all talking about that I had something to say about? Shit.
What about, did you address the...
Oh. No. It's about your last caller. I heard something the other day, and this is actually interesting because I've been arguing this fucking point for years. People get on me, motherfucker, how you that smart and you don't understand how important voting is? I say, voting ain't shit. Voting don't really matter. It don't fucking count. Yeah, it do. Well, how the fuck Hillary won the popular vote but lost the election? Explain that shit to me. So, with that argument there, now I think it's one of the northeastern states. They're looking into doing away with the electoral college to where we're just going to have a popular vote, and which is a true democracy, the way it fucking should be. Whoever the majority of the people vote for wins. Majority wins. That's the way a democracy is supposed to work. So why the fuck it ain't never been like that, I don't know. But I know goddamn well it didn't start out like that when they was voting for Lincoln and George Washington and them. I know better than that, so I don't really know when this shit started. I probably should. You know what I'm saying? But I think it's some bullshit, and I always thought it's some bullshit. But I think that's real interesting that one of the states is trying to do away with the electoral college.
Yeah, that
so if all of them do it, it's gonna change the game up. You ain't gonna be no bullshit where you can win a certain amount of states and then over with. That way, every single vote counts, every single one, no matter what state you from, your vote does count. Period. That's the way it should be.
So, with that, if that happened, do you think that would bring more people to the polls?
Yeah, I think so, because the way it's set up, they could pretty much they could make that shit go whichever way they want, especially with the electronic votes and all that shit. And that's gonna be a huge problem then, because now that's gonna be more important and more relevant about the voter machines and motherfuckers they votes not being counted, or these votes being lost, or ballots being all kind of bullshit. What the fuck is the interest?
Yeah, because they were talking about a lot of these states, man. They talking about motherfuckers been using voting machines that's 10, 14 years old. Like the machine still ain't been updated. And that was a thing that I saw. I forgot where I read that, but they were talking about that shit here in Texas at least. Shit, even in the last election. So, you know, these machines are susceptible to tampering, unlike the Texans.
Absolutely.
So.
Well, anyway, Honcho, I don't know if you can hear this bitch, but I just arrived at my stop, so right. I gotta let you go, brother. I gotta get this motherfucking shit off my trailer.
All right, that's a bet, man. Appreciate the call, Jay. Just.
All right, Chief.
All right. Man. All right. I think that's a solid way to do it. Yes. We want to be a part of everyone else. We don't want to be the greatest country in America anymore. Texas wants to be like everyone else. It's the invasion of the Californians. So here's the deal, though. No, hell no, that would be terrible. Say no to Hillary. But I just find it interesting. Like I said, look, motherfuckers want to sway some shit, they'll be able to make it sway however it needs to go. But I do think that you have a lot of the more populated areas which will have an overwhelming impact. But here is the dilly-dally of the deal. We are going to not all California. Look, y'all all trying to slide to the great state of Texas. Until Texas legalizes it, that's the only problem with Texas. If Texas legalizes it, man, look, we gonna be in trouble. Everybody gonna move to this bitch. It'll be over with. You think the Californians coming down? You know, they like their reefers a little bit too much. You know, they'll be next. You know, they'll be coming down to Texas. They'll be out here skateboarding and gang banging. You know, and whoa, V Darko. See if I solicit your porno drive-in with that kind of talk. I don't think so. 2030, if we're lucky. They'd have to justify, motherfucking me, the weed bringing in more revenue than, the police. That's a they a lot of people are having to pay dues because of that. So you gotta see the moolah coming in. What's the motherfucking deal? Who do we have calling into the den this evening?
Yeah, this Lee calling back.
All right, Lee, what you got, man?
That tripped me out. Old boy was talking about Hillary winning the popular vote and whatnot. The crazy thing is, like, she the damn reason everybody about to be in a civil war. Like, real talk, that broad got something to do with the human trafficking and all the opioids and all that other bullshit and everything. Like, there's a broad that died out in New Jersey. Her mattress ended up 200 feet in the air. How the fuck an old bitch got a king-size mattress? How the fuck you lift a queen-size or king-size mattress up 200 feet in the air and end up in the tree? That bitch's house looked like a motherfucking bird, all the grass, and that shit turned into like somebody took a garbage bag and just sprinkled some shit on top of a fucking burnt out motherfucking just crater. They said it was a fucking new stove. How a new stove blow your whole house up? They killed the bitch because the bitch was gonna fucking testify against Hillary. Real talk. Like, I thought that was cool how you mentioned that one show with that dude with the deep ass voice and shit. You still got a cooler voice than that motherfucker though. But I'm gonna tell you something that'll probably blow your mind.
Right.
You ever heard of Wolfgang Halbert?
Man, the name sounds familiar, but I'm not. I can't pinpoint it.
Didn't you say Coast to Coast AM?
Yeah.
He did a show on that.
Okay.
Wolfgang told me that I could call him at any time.
Okay. And so, like, what is his? Was he like a host on Coast to Coast, or was he like a guest?
Oh, he ain't no host, man. Wolfgang Halbert is an ex-state trooper.
Okay.
From Florida.
Okay.
Now, the reason why I'm bringing this up is because out in Florida, they was having a bunch of problems with people cheating during the elections. I don't know if you know that shit, but like at the beginning of the year, they was finding that a bunch of people was sitting up doing all types of crazy, janky shit around out there near where Extinction. I don't know how you pronounce that brother's name, that little rapper that died out there in Broward County, Florida, where they was having all that drama.
Yeah.
Remember the school got popped up and all that other bullshit, and then they had a bunch of people pop up in New York, you know? How the hell you had 300 of the same people from one situation in Vegas pop up out in another spot? It's the same people, you know? But they was trying to say that Wolfgang was crazy, but you know what Wolfgang did? Wolfgang was the guy who would train the ATF how to respond if something bad happened up at the school. He was training them. So, you know, a lot of people might be thinking I'm just like a nobody knucklehead and shit, but, you know, in my opinion, I think Wolfgang a hero. You know? Some of them other people be talking shit. Like that one dude was talking slick. The dude that from that Coast to Coast FM, he had Wolfgang on the show, and he was talking some wild shit, talking about some massive shit out of his motherfucking neck. And motherfuckers need to watch their mouth, because if I ever catch them, I'm going to knock their fucking teeth clean out their fucking mouth. I swear for God. I swear for God.
Okay. So you say, Lee, you said you was coming out of Chi-Town, huh? You represent Chi-Town?
Yeah.
Okay. Shout out to Chi-Town. Okay, just gotta say some love, man. You know, like I say, it's good to know that, you know, the Den crew is nationwide, and I think we got one little dirty international asshole, but they all right. You know, we got love for them. They cool. You know, we ain't gonna trip on them too much. But nah, okay. Shout out to the South Side, man. So I'm gonna have to check that out though. I'm gonna have to link that. You say Wolfgang Halbert, right?
From my neighborhood. Thinking it's all good. That ain't cool.
Okay. All right.
Remember they had the Takashi 6ix9ine putting that hit on Tato and shit, and he was all on video.
Yeah, that shit did wild.
Put $30,000, and then like you ain't noticing Jesse Smollett. He had them damn. How you got them Africans?
Man, I don't know. Is it a lot of Nigerians down in Chi-Town?
He was paying them $4,000. Remember I told you old boy offered me like around like $25,000. Then the money started dropping down to 4 G's. They be trying to have welfare killers and shit. Some of them dudes that be rapping is some welfare killers and shit. You get 4 G's. We want to at the for like 200 people and shit. You get 4 G's each fucking hit. That shit ain't cool. What the fuck? There ain't nothing sexy about being John Wick. You don't be getting no gold, the bouillon, and none of that shit. You just be getting 4 G's and shit around tax time.
The man said they ain't even getting they getting tax returns and shit. Ain't that a bitch?
No, they pay you around tax time and shit, because then it look like they ain't fucking paid nobody and shit. They think they slick. They be doing some tax evasion shit. But shouldn't that be a RICO case?
Man.
If nigga, it'd be a RICO case.
Look, I don't know nothing about the legality, but the first thing you said though, do you know the chick's name? Because I want to look into that. You were talking about the chick whose house blew up with the stove.
What you say?
The chick you were talking about.
The chick that had the stove blow up.
Yeah.
That was out in New Jersey. You can look it up.
Okay, bet.
Like that's all on YouTube, man. Just a damn fucking stove blew up and shit, and a fucking mattress ended up in a tree and shit. You can look that shit up. That shit is wild. I could try to pull it up and try to give it to you and shit. You know what I'm saying? I could try to look, but you know.
Yeah, if you get a chance, if you get a chance, man, shoot that to the Denline, man. I'll definitely check that out. But here's the deal, man, Mr. Lee. I appreciate you calling back in, but I'm about to get ready to wind it up, man. And so, but I appreciate you calling in, man, and shooting me some game. You just said a couple of things I got to look into, man. I'm gonna have to do some research for tomorrow night so we can talk about that Dre Prince situation.
All right, yeah, that shit was bogus and stuff, man. That shit was bogus.
All right, but that's a BT.
No, I called one of them cat shows from New York and shit, and the dude was talking shit about Jay Prince and shit later and stuff like, but the dude cut me off acting bogus. Yeah. That's the reason why I say you got a good show, because you actually talk to everybody, even if somebody talking some bullshit. You'll be letting them talk their bullshit. You actually act like a host. You actually try to have the thing be entertaining, so like old girl could call in and be talking, bouncing back off of me talking about the Dobo.
Yeah, that's straight up. That's what I'm saying, man. Look, the Den, we are a community here, so it ain't about just me talking shit to a bunch of folks. I mean, it's about learning and seeing something from the other side. Ultimately, that's what it's about. But hey, man, like I said, I appreciate the call. You know what I'm saying? But we're gonna definitely chop it up tomorrow, man.
Yeah, your show legit, man.
I appreciate
that's really shit, man. That's good to be so.
All right, I appreciate that, man. So, like I said, we're gonna chop it up about that Jay Prince tomorrow, man. So, I'll be expecting a call.
All right, man. All right. Don't even worry about it.
I bet that.
All right, stay up, man. One.
Already. Shout out to Lee, man. So yeah, but we finna get ready to wind it down. Look, I gave y'all some bonus time for my lateness. So we gonna get ready to slide up out of here, man. But I appreciate everybody calling in. We'll be back at it tomorrow, because I do want to talk about the Jay Prince thing, because there's some things I saw, and there's actually a video I want to finish watching before we talk about it. And Heidi, yes, that was racist. It was racist of me. It was stereotypical of me at the very least. So I want to say shout out to Sarah. Appreciate you showing love, dropping them Denjamins. Shout out to everybody who may be tuning in, who is just listening. Make sure you like, subscribe, share with your friends. We do this every night live at 10 p.m. Central to midnight at least. But I appreciate all of y'all, man. I appreciate everybody who come through showing love each and every night. And again, I thank y'all for y'all support. I appreciate y'all just showing love. But man, tell a friend about the Den. We trying to make this thing grow a little bit at a time, For some reason, and here's the thing. Here it's like the sub count gets to like 19. I think it got to 1951. I'm like, okay, we growing back up, because it dropped down from like 1950 to like 1935, and then it went back up, and now it's dropping back down again. So look, I got to tell a friend about them, but my ass got to make more short videos, so we gonna be on it. And I appreciate all of y'all. Thank all of you for coming through. And with that being said, hey man, y'all ain't got to go home. You ain't really got to go. You should probably already be home. It's just kind of late. I should be at home at this point in time. But you guys to get the fuck up out of here, man. I'm out. Make sure y'all support V Darko's Porno Drive-In Theater. I'm gone. Hold up. What y'all talking about? I ain't talking about nothing. I'm finna stop. I'm out.